He's like, this bit of wood, fine. This other bit of wood, fine. Like, do I fit this sink? Fine. He hasn't, like, everything is fine. Every builder's like, this thing's fine. Yeah? Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Ron. And I'm joined today by Nathan Prescott for the Nathan Prescott Show on Monday nights. Nathan Prescott, hello, how are you?
Fuck you. It's not Nathan Prescott Show. Why don't you call it something else?
That's the best name for the show.
Why don't we call it something else? What else could we call it? Shit. I was trying to think of something, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I think that this will be fine. I think everyone is pimping with Prescott. That's it. Congrats, everyone. And I'm also joined by... That was a fucking great intro, like a cold open that no one wants to ever listen to again. I'm joined by James. Don't tell me objective rings should be round. Powell. Who hasn't turned his microphone on.
I muted it because I put a jumper on. Objective rings should always be around every day of the week. And there are 9 of them now because it's version 3 of the week.
Hey, James, we got loads of compliments both at the weekend for the 40k event and the weekend before on the objective rings. People are like, these are great. Did you make them yourself? And every time someone asked me, I said, yes, I made these. I'm awesome. And they were like, you're smart. And I was like, thank you.
How many did you sign? Ron.
Loads is what I did. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to the Honest Wargamer. It's Monday night. That means we're hanging out with Nathan and James. Danny's still not here today, even though he promised he would be. So that means we're the bitch. So that does mean that we will be getting in a guest who will be here in but 20 minutes. A special guest. Hey, Galaneth86, thanks for subscribing. Thanks everyone for joining us on Twitch. Tony Smash, K-Dread, Speckles, yes. Ruskles, Mighty 8 High, Dr. Pimp, so many great people. Asperon, Aggression, thank you all for resubscribing and being here. Big love to all of you. It's also, just to let you guys know, to let you know what the subject of today's show, we're going to be talking about the battle plans in Age of Sigmar 3 and how... let me just do a YouTube clip for everyone. We'll be talking about the battle plans in Age of Sigmar 3 and how the scoring doesn't work for tournament play. There we go. That was my YouTube intro, which is, I don't know if you've seen people talk on YouTube, Nate. That's how they explain things slowly, and they never change the timbre of their voice. It's always
the timbre of their voice.
One level. All YouTube video, basically. That's how it works, I think.
Isn't that how you get the most hits?
That's how you get the most hits in the face for boring the piss out of me, is what you do. Anyway, so that's today's show, which I'm very excited.
They don't talk like that on Pornhub, so watch that instead.
They don't talk like that on Pornhub, you're so right. Thanks, Nate. They normally talk in Russian, I find.
Perfect.
Right. So that's what we're discussing today. We'll be discussing the battle plans for Age of Sigmar 3. But before we do any of that, I'm obviously going to see how my show hosts are. And of course, we're going to thank everyone on Twitch for joining us live, everyone on the podcast for staying hydrated, and everyone on Patreon for supporting the show. All the YouTube thugs, you can fuck off today. No, that's right. Nathan, say something to the YouTube thugs.
I can't talk in YouTube talk, so I don't know what to say. Hello, YouTube people. I couldn't do what you were doing just now. I didn't understand what you were trying to do. I have to talk in a flat voice and not talk.
Perfect. Thank you so much. James, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am very well, thanks.
Oh, God, no, don't do this. Come on.
Busy week.
God.
And it's been all right, thanks. How are you?
No, come on, tell me more. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, been pretty good. What have I been up to?
Have you played any games?
I have. I've played
Lucky
2
bastard.
this week. 2 games. I have played Skaven twice. And I played Miles Hewitt.
Cool.
And we had a Skaven off.
Nice.
And I got annihilated. It was a painful experience. And then I played Nick Thompson. And he
Cool.
used Excelsior, which is the newest city from the Kragnos book. And I used the same Skaven list. And his dice rolled spectacularly and lost him the game. He had a little paddy, threw some dice at me. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but still. And yeah, so 2 games this week.
Cool.
Enjoying it.
What did you think of the new city, Excelsior?
It's really interesting. I think it was really interesting. So that thing where you get either +1 to hit or -1 to hit was quite interesting because his dice performs quite badly most of the time. But on that, in the whole game, I think of all the ones he rolled, he got -1 to hit only twice. So I think that one was really interesting. I think it was really interesting to see a city that every time either buffs itself, which is super strong in this new edition, or weakens itself, which is obviously a bit worse. But it is quite interesting, I think, because if it goes down, then at least you can command point buff it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it was cool. It was good to see.
Counteract it, yeah.
James, just some quick thoughts. You obviously play some Age of 3 now. Did you know about the all-out defense and all-out attack stratagems? Command abilities. Pretty important, I heard.
So I read some of the Warhammer community articles.
I'd just like you to know, side note, the show today that I had planned was maybe to review every one of the Warhammer community articles, and it got suggested to me that maybe it was too bitchy. So I didn't do that, but I think we could have had a great time doing that. I thought we would have all had fun, and we would have enjoyed it. But we didn't, so well done, I guess, to us for wanting to have less fun. Who the fuck are we nowadays? So, Nathan, have a word.
Fine. With who?
It's your show.
Sorry, James, what were you saying?
I don't know now. I read all of the Metal Watch articles.
Good.
Didn't read any. And I know now that I can also give +1 to hit.
You can. What is that command ability called?
No idea.
Come on,
+1 to
let's
hit.
train
+1 to
ourselves.
hit, lads.
Let's train all-out attack. Okay, right.
That's the one.
Right. What does rally do? Come on, let's train ourselves. Rally.
Oh, Rally's my favourite.
Yeah.
I used that 3 times yesterday. Rally, I roll a load of dice and bring a load of models back. Great times.
Okay, do you know what the exact ruling is for rally?
Models that are slain. You roll a dice for each model that was slain, and on a 6, they return to the battlefield.
What range?
So it's wholly within 18 of a general or a totem, 12 of a hero, or the unit itself from the unit commander. They all have a different name, don't they? So whatever the unit champion is.
Oh my god, you're smashing it. You are smashing it.
So if models, is it still the same as in
No.
Sigmar 2? When models that run away, do they count as slain?
They do not.
No. Nope.
They no longer count as slain.
Oh.
They count as ran away.
Which is funny because they can't rally, but the lads that are dead just get back up.
Well, they're tired, not dead. Like they took a flesh wound.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they just
Well,
haven't.
nobody dies.
They do eventually die when you basically they're all kind of dead a little bit, but not all the way. Like they're tired. If there's one guy left, there's 29 guys doing the ooh, my knee, ooh. But then as soon as that guy dies, they're like, fuck it, I'll end it all, and then they all die. No chance. So
it was mortal.
yeah. Oh no, they got the fade. So yeah, well done, James. James, just let's do some quick more tests. Or Nathan, I'll do one on you. All-out defense. What's that do?
+1 to your save.
Yes, absolutely smashed it. What about Unleash Hell?
Me again.
Yeah.
If a unit finishes a charge within 9, you can have a blast at them. A pippity pop. With your shooting weapons.
That's how it should be.
At -1 to hit.
Yeah, perfect. Nathan, another one for you. Redeploy.
If somebody finishes a move within 9 in the movement phase, you can run away D6 inches, or run towards them D6 inches, or run sideways D6. You get to move D6 inches.
Can you run up a piece of terrain D6 inches?
Sure. What does it count as a move, I wonder?
A normal move? Yes, I think so. It's a normal move. You can make a normal move of D6 inches. A normal move
So
is defined.
So if you had enough movement, you could drop a bomb or something, eh? Do you have enough movement? Max you could move would be 6. No,
yeah,
probably
it's
not.
unlikely. Unless they were one hero, maybe.
Yeah.
Because they'd have to be 3 away.
So if they got within 3,
three
no, because you've got to be outside of 3.
No,
Yeah, you've got to be outside of 3.
Outside, yeah. So it's not going to work.
No,
dropping them bombs.
Stop trying to break the game, Nathan. Can I just?
And you can't do it if somebody's already within 3 of you.
Yeah, you can't. Too close. It's too scary. You can't unleash hell when there's fellas nearby. You're too concerned about them fellas getting at you.
Well, unless it's the people that charged you. No, I was thinking about the redeploy.
Oh, the redeploy,
you can't redeploy it away out of combat either, can you?
No, I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's what I'm guessing anyway.
Yeah, you can't. Thanks, by the way, to Bobbin for donating £4.69 to the show. I think the reason he does that is because today it's a bit of a birthday, James and Nathan. It's the 469th stream streak day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that is a lot of stream streak.
Lots of numbers. Another question on redeploy, sorry, just to go back.
Yeah, go for it, boss man. How can I help you?
Beat this dead horse dead.
Yeah.
Does it count for setups?
Does it count? How do you mean?
No. They have to move.
You have to move.
Okay. So if a unit is set up, you can't redeploy away from
However, the carriage on boat is cast as a normal move. However, none of this is all a bit like whatever at the moment. And like other than the core rules, which I don't think will change particularly much, I got to say that the key point there is that we're getting all the FAQs on Saturday. So this Saturday will be all of the FAQs for all of the armies, where there'll be loads of updates. We might see sub-faction changes, might even see points changes. Going to be a significant weekend this Saturday, so loads to discuss, which is going to be very exciting. And it's also my first Age of Sigmar 3 tournament, which definitely should be the name of like a children's book. Maybe Wildman's, maybe Gareth can get on it. My first Age of Sigmar 3 tournament. James and Nathan are also attending said event. Are you both excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm winning it, so I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Why are you winning it?
I'm just trying to do some smack talk that you're not biting.
It's the wrong attitude to have. Me and Nathan are just going for fun. Nathan, what about you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I was writing lists today on bits of wood at work. So,
please tell me you actually were doing that, because that would be the best.
Yeah, of course I was.
Amazing.
I just had loads of little bits of wood, and I was writing it on the floor. That was great.
Do you know what my favourite bit is? That someone somewhere now has on their floor 1 times Brugit, 2 times Shroomancer, and one day someone's going to find him like, who the hell did this?
We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just get our final special guest in for this. Nathan, what sort of list were you writing, or is it a secret that we're not allowed to say?
I was writing Gits lists. So I had one with One-Eyed Granakin.
Yeah.
And then I was writing other lists without him in. Tried a Squig list. I think Squigs will be really quite interesting in Age of Sigmar number 3.
Why so, sir?
Because the hoppers are now in big units at 10, and they can do the mortal wounds. Then the Boingrots can also do mortal wounds. I think he got quite a few mortal wounds, so that's quite good.
Okay, I want to hear more about this. Big shout out to Adam Mumford for joining us live. In the, I think it should be in the. It doesn't show on the screen for some reason. I'm not sure why.
No.
Big love to him.
No one cares.
Thanks to fuck me. Thank you to Percussive Scruff for donating £69 and 69p to the PC fund, and also to Dr.
Nice.
Pimp. Wow, that's amazing. There's so much happening there at the same time. Adam, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know why.
Can the people on the computer machine hear him?
I hope not. It's
Why are there hearts on the thing? What the hell's going on?
People have donated money, Nathan. It's created hearts. I think everyone should be able to see him. For some reason, his image isn't coming up, though, which is kind of confusing me. Oh, wait. There we go. He's in the chat,
Yeah,
everyone.
everyone's saying, unfortunately, they can see it.
Okay.
Look at them! Look at them, sweet student digs.
Look at this, yeah, man. You should see my bed at the moment. It's
You
fucked.
can
shit.
cook and sleep at the same time.
Yeah, man. There's the kitchen.
Adam, I'm not sure if
What more do
your input is the right input. We did this live, waiting for Dan, so just want to double check because
Right.
you're quite quiet. So we'll just get that sorted. A huge thank you to Percussive Scruff and also
That's because his microphone instead of down here.
Different microphone. See? Look.
What? He's got more than
Yeah.
one.
I've
I
got
know.
3, I think.
All the microphones.
What a cheater.
yeah.
I bought it when I had to stream for when I was teaching online. So like, I had to fucking buy all this equipment and pretend I was a pro streamer for children. It was fucking weird.
Super weird. Super weird. How did that make you feel? Was it good?
I felt like a pro YouTuber, and I was doing the whole things like I was asking them to donate every so often for my computer fund, but apparently their parents wouldn't let them send me money.
How sad.
Wow, shots fired. Shots fired. Which gives me an opportunity to thank Colliery for donating £5.62 to the show. Adam, just a quick one. Nathan, have you done a show with Adam before? James and Adam, have you even met? James, you've met Adam before, right?
Oh, a million too many times.
Wow.
Too
So
many
twice.
times.
A million too many times.
Nathan, have you
Wow.
met him before?
In real life? Yeah. I think. Wasn't you at Brotherhood?
Yeah, we had a dance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We were drunk, and that was about it.
Did
Okay.
Nathan play you at Brotherhood?
No.
No.
Because I was going to ask him to recount the game so we could all just go off and have an ice cream for an hour.
We can pretend we played.
He
Like,
probably wouldn't remember. You could just make
No.
him a game.
Brotherhood was terrible. My brain.
Turn
was...
1, the Squigs charged in, and they took about 12 hours to move. And then turn 2, we carried on going. My eels all died. Then turn 3, we carried on a little bit more. Turn 4, we had a hero phase that lasted 5 hours because there were like 12 Gobblepaloozas. And then we ended up playing a turn 6.
Yep.
I don't even know how that fuck happened, but it did. So
It always happens.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, good. Adam, just before we go any further, have you played in Age of Sigmar 3 yet, and how are you finding it?
I played twice, and it's good.
Solid. Any other words?
Yeah, like it's better than Age of Sigmar 2 because that game's shit now. So like you can like fuck that one off. Eels are still bent, so Gotrek is amazing. So everyone should just be playing him. And Beastclaw Raiders get dicked by Gotrek. So that's my experience, to be honest.
I think
Wow.
that's pretty good. Are you excited, Nathan, about using Gotrek? Because he's quite good now. Holy shit. Thank you to some Norwegian dude for donating £75 to the show. Fuck.
Wow.
Fuckity fuck. Thank you
Wow.
so much. That's got us closer to the PC fund. I'd like everyone to know that I actually sent James all of the PC fund money the other day because I couldn't trust it sitting in my bank account. So it just went straight to James. I went, James, can I send you the money? He was like, yeah. I was like, just keep it away from me.
It's even better because what Rob doesn't know is I have a new PC now.
Oh, God. Thank you very much. Oh, wait. Does that mean it's got... Oh, my God. Wow. Thank you to some Norwegian
Yeah.
dude for getting us to 69% and 69.69%.
Oh, wow.
Fuck yeah. That's super nice of you.
He's a mathematical
He is a
genius.
mathematical
Well done.
genius. Fucking hell, I've got no words left.
Dingus.
Dingus. All right, so we're going to talk about the battle plans. There's something to talk about with the battle plans before we do talk about them, because there's actually a bit of an issue that we're going to be trying to sort out yesterday. Oh, let's just write down the timestamp for everyone. 25 minutes. Nailed it. Fucking 25-minute intro. We talk about the news, but there isn't really any news. Like, actually, no, before we talk about the
Have you heard about All Out Attack?
Yes.
No, could you tell us about it?
There's also another one called All Out Defense.
Oh,
and there's another command ability called Unleash Hell.
We've done this, right? We've done this.
Sounds shit.
It does sound shit. Before we get into this, just a quick little bit. There's obviously the excitement around list writing, but does anyone feel a bit like, number one, like it felt like all of the people who got Dominion got it like 8 to 43 years ago? Like it feels like like Dominion's been out now forever. Does that feel fair to everyone?
Yeah, it's quite old hat. I don't want it anymore. I want something new.
What do you want?
Well, not something that is old like Dominion. Something new. Dominion Mark II or something else.
Would you call it Dominion Mark II?
No, just Mark II.
Mark II. What would you want in it?
Lots of toys. Lots of nice new toys. Not old toys like those Stormcast and Boggily Boys.
What sort of toys? Okay, let's leave that there. Let's leave that there. That's fine. That's fine. We went down a weird enough road straight away. That's fine. Wait. Thank you to Bob for donating another £4.69. That's fuck yeah. And he said, "Fuck the percentage." Super lovely of you. And that's very, very lovely. The oh fuck! What was I going to say? There's like two things now. No, we'll start on this one first. Number one, is anyone else kind of sick of the fact that you haven't got Dominion yet, or you haven't got the new stuff, or more importantly, that you don't have the rules and the FAQ and the errata that's coming out at the weekend? Is anyone kind of like, I feel like in a weird limbo where you can't do anything at all? How's everyone else feel about that?
Yeah, we're ready for the rules.
Yeah, I'm ready for my toys.
Oh, okay, tools. Adam, how do you feel about it all?
It's fine. Just play.
Oh.
Stop waiting for FAQs. Make your own.
Oh wow, we found someone even shorter than Nathan on the show. Perfect.
Well, like, pink horrors, just say they're fucked, because fuck 'em.
No.
And then anything we don't like, just bin it off.
Such as?
Feckless. Marathi. Just fuck 'em
What do you mean bin it off? What do you want from the because I'm just annoyed. I was thinking about armies. Like I'm excited about playing loads of different armies, and I don't know what armies. I don't even know what the fucking So we've got this tournament at the weekend, right? But I can't take my Tzeentch army because right now pink horrors don't even work. Like the war scroll doesn't work.
Good.
So I can't take them. So what the fuck do I take? Do you know what I mean? Like what the fuck do I do? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why
You've got a 3D printer.
Why doesn't it work?
Because
Why doesn't it work?
thank you, by the way, to Big Bird 990 and Harry266 for donating £10 each to the show. Fuck yeah, that's great. I'm gonna get my boobies out. I can't. There's no boobies, but you know what I mean. My emotional boobies for you. Thank you so much. The because you can't take a unit above its starting size currently is a rule. So you can't take a unit above its starting size. And pink horrors, as soon as they die, they obviously create two. So you kill one pink horror, you get two blue horrors, but you can't get two blue horrors. You get one, and then the game stops right there, and nothing makes any sense.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. But so it's just annoying, right? Because you don't even know if you can play your army or can't play your army, basically. So it's just frustrating. I think that's kind of where I wanted to go with everyone. I just wanted to, because some people will be feeling it, and I wanted to put it out there. Is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Then next thing. Before we move on, Nathan, could you just quickly describe, because I don't know if anyone else knows this, does anyone else know about the infinite mortal wounds from Gits is a new thing? I think it's called quad snuffling.
What the hell? Oh, I don't know about it. What's
So
this?
you
pod
shared it with
stuffing?
us the other day. So the Gloomspite Gits chat, obviously, like, there's not... I know, obviously, all-out attack and all-out defense and also stand and shoot on the Gits, obviously, make them loads better. But isn't there also something that you could do with the doubling down on the Snufflers or something similar?
Yeah, you've always been able to do
Okay,
that.
so can you explain it to the chat, please? And also our co-hosts.
Well, just so every time you use the Snufflers, you get to get an extra attack, so to the unit. But after you've done it, so every time you do it after the first time, you take 2d6 mortal wounds, though. So that's the downside. But yeah, there was somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, it's fine. You can just rally them back, as long as you've got enough left to take advantage of them. Just kill those, poison them." Go for it. So if you have 4 units of Snufflers, you can give them +4 attacks. They take 66 mortal wounds. And if you have some Spore Spatters nearby, you get another set of attacks. So you'll have +5 attacks. So your netters would be doing 8 attacks each, and the regular dudes would be doing 6 attacks each.
And then you would rally them after.
Yeah, you can rally some. Yeah, because it's only on a 6 you get the dudes back, don't you? But I mean, just the few that are left should, with the Loom Boss command ability on them, should pump out quite a few mortal wounds.
So quad Snufflers. Yeah. So 4 units of Snufflers, 1 huge unit of Gits, 1 billion attacks.
Yeah. Loads of attacks, yeah.
That sounds...
6
But
units.
yeah, always been able to do that. But it turns, I mean, it does, even if you just do it with the Spore Splatter and the Snuffler. I mean, the guy had a special spreadsheet, and it was quite, he had very nice names. I'm sure Tim won't mind me saying. Tim had these very nice names where they were like overdosing and doing all sorts of stuff, spore balling and stuff. It was... it took a bit of contemplation to work out what was going on. But yeah,
what else can you do? So I can +4 attacks to a unit of Gits. Then I can use the Loom Boss command ability, right?
Yeah.
And what's that do?
So on a 6 to wound, they do a mortal wound in addition to their damage.
Okay.
Whatever else, and yeah.
And then under the moon,
they reroll 1s to hit.
Okay. And then is that everything we can do? Is that our max?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because you can only use 1 command ability on them, can't you? So you won't be able to give them all-out attack or anything like that.
Okay.
Sad face.
So what's the combo? So each Git would be doing what? 6 attacks each?
Yeah. So with the Spore Splatter So 6 attacks. Half of those would be hitting. So they'd be doing about half a mortal wound per Git.
So 40 Gits would maybe do 20 mortal wounds.
Yeah. The net is slightly more than that because they do 2 extra attacks. But you're looking at about 20, 25 mortal wounds from a unit of 40 Gits. Yeah,
it's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of Snufflers though, and stuff.
Why wouldn't you do it?
Because it's a lot of Snufflers and stuff. They'd have to stand around in a circle waiting to get their mushrooms and do all of their stuff, and then meanwhile the enemy's just got to be stood there waiting for all of this to happen. It doesn't happen like that very often.
Okay, well, you haven't played me. I'd let it happen, is what I'm going to say. Thank you to Wayne Kerr for donating £5.69 to the show. That's super good. The Snuffle Shuffle. That's what it has now been named. If anyone out there does achieve the Snuffle Shuffle, please do let us know. We would like to know. I don't think Nathan invented the Snuffle Shuffle. I don't think he'd want me to claim that for him. But that's out there. Maybe Tim invented the Snuffle Shuffle. The circle snirking is maybe what it would be. All right, battle plans. So where did we get up to there? 34 minutes. Wow. Oops. Added a bit there on. So 34 minutes in, let's talk about the battle plans. So we'll very quickly talk about this from a top level down and why there's going to be a problem, and then we'll cycle back a little bit, and then we'll just talk about the battle plans in general. So if any of us play a game, like Adam, you played a game the other day. Do you remember what your final score was on your game generally?
I don't need to remember because I used your score sheet.
Nice.
So I've got it here somewhere, which means I'm going to take like 20 minutes now to find that.
Perfect.
And make you all fill some time. But it was something like, it was like 31:20 something.
Okay, 30,
So-
but 20 what? That would be really interesting to know. James, do you remember any of your games? And anyone else in the chat who might have played so far, do you remember what your scores were?
So my first game, we didn't have the general handbook leaks, so that one's super easy because we didn't have half the leaks. So that one we just played the mission pack.
Yep.
So the score in that was literally like 8-5, I think.
Okay.
Super easy. The second game we used everything but the primaries. And the score was pretty close, but it was kind of over by turn 4 anyway. So I think it was about, oh no, I got stumped. It was like probably at that point like 15-6. And then the one yesterday, actually, I think there was 5 points in it. I think it was like 30-25.
Okay. All right, sweet. Nate, you haven't played any yet so far, right?
No.
Perfect. Right, well, okay, so all of that's fine. Adam, do you remember what the difference was on your score?
Yeah, it was actually 31-16 to me.
All right, perfect. All right, so a
Yeah.
15-point swing in that. All right, so
Yeah.
when we go through some of the battle plans, some of the battle plans, they score differently to the other battle plans. But one of the problems that I think that you're really going to see is when you're at a tournament, because the point scoring is quite low, and win-loss, which I think has always been a pretty poor way of doing like tournament results. For instance, I'll try and break this down a little bit. At tournaments previously, you would get so many tournament points for winning a game. Major victory, you get so many tournament points, and then we had secondaries, which kind of changed those points around. Now, if you win a major victory because of the points, let's say Adam beats me like 30 to whatever, like so.
Always going to happen, yeah.
Always going to happen,
Yeah.
right? He wins a major victory, he gets so many tournament points, but there's an issue with that because it's not very granular. And then you need secondaries. And because secondaries are now baked into the scoring system, so if Adam beats me 30-16, that includes the secondaries that he's achieved. So you aren't really counting secondaries, right? Unless you do how many secondaries you achieved. Also, let's say that you play two people of a similar skill level. So let's say James and a small child, right? Then when they play...
That's about right.
Yeah, nailed
So
it.
me and Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
When they play, it might be a really tight fought game, and the score difference between them is maybe 1 point or 2. So even though they're at a similar skill level, and the game was really, really good, yeah, like James wins, but he gets this like significant tournament point difference. He's like he like on the results, it looks like Adam got smashed in one game, and there was a result on the other. Right? Does that make sense? So there's an issue with the scoring effectively because the secondaries are locked into the final score, and also it doesn't really showcase when a game has been super close. So if you're on a top table, like two top players have played a really, really tense, close game, like one has then just smashed the other one. So it doesn't really reward it. What they do in 40k, and what we don't have as a tournament system in Age of Sigmar at the moment, what they do in 40k is they base it off points differential. So if you beat your opponent by X number of points, then you can... So let's say I do all my secondaries, Adam, you do all your secondaries, and then we do our primaries as well, and the score's like, I don't know, like, so what would that be? Like 21-22, yeah? In 40k, or in current Age of Sigmar, you'd get like 16 tournament points because you've got the major victory, right? However, in 40k, that would just be what's called a 10-10 because it's the same, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Right now we've got a 20-0 system, right?
We don't have a 20-0
then,
system.
like-
We don't have a 20-0
like-
system yet.
Yeah,
In
so
like
this-
AOS at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And then in 40k, you're looking at the differential between the two scores. And then would you not just use if you did like 21-20, why wouldn't you just give that person 1 point? Just do it like that.
Why would you reward someone for beating them by a singular point, right? Like, it's such a small points differential, and it really doesn't showcase, again, two people with similar play styles, or not with similar skill levels, like beating them by like a small amount, like it's just like you get this huge advantage really. And so in 40k they don't do that, so you have to smash your opponent like to go higher effectively. Nath, what are your thoughts at the minute? Just talking about that.
Yeah, I concur. So at the moment it's win-loss draw on the system that we've got.
Correct.
That out the General's Handbook. Do they have a suggested tournament pack in there?
They do not.
Have we seen? No.
They do have a score sheet in the... so the General's Handbook is our battle pack. What they effectively haven't done... In 40k, and this is really important, in 40k they did make suggestions for how to score in a tournament, and they haven't done that in Age of Sigmar. They haven't done that in ours. So we've only got a score sheet from them. Right? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought... Didn't they have suggested tournament packs in some of the old handbooks?
Yes, they have. They have, and they haven't suggested that. Like they have suggested, as Chumphammer is saying, that there will be a tournament system, but they haven't announced that yet or showcase that. Showcase that. And also, and most importantly, there are some major events coming up, and there will be some major events coming up, and people need to start kind of understanding how the scoring works. James, is it making sense to you?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, if that's what you mean. Interestingly, just because I saw it, and obviously I've never played there, but Default 369 did say in the chat somewhere, in the US, if you win 84 to 50 in 40k, you just get 84 points, and your opponent gets 50 points respectively.
So yeah, so that's in their system. There is that like in a lot of other systems, and especially in teams, you generally you operate on the points differential, which is my preference personally. Like I think points differential is actually better because like in order to like you need a massive win in order to get the 20, as opposed to like. Because you could so for example, me and Adam could go to a tournament, play on a table. I'd be like max VP. He'd be like, yeah, max VP, and then we just give each other max VP. Yeah, play our game, move some shit around. Yeah, I'd be like, cool, 36, or whatever the fuck we want it to be, like whatever the max is, or like close to max, and then we can both walk away. In that system, I could lose, technically lose if you go along that 5 games and beat 3 people who won tighter games. Does that make sense? Yeah, because you just agree to a score and then play a game. Exactly, 100%. And like Synchronize is saying in the chat, massive love to Synchronize. Score it like MSBG, which is what we're suggesting, which is a more elegant system for a civilized age, which I 100% agree. Yeah, so you could lose all your games and win the event, yes. So, for example, let's say you're on the top 10. It's just a better way of scoring, in my opinion, like having looked at it. But it's going to be something I look at tomorrow anyway. And we haven't looked at it enough yet. We definitely don't have enough data to kind of really understand it. But I just thought I'd bring it up at the moment to kind of because it's going to be one of those conversations. Because right now, you're going to play your games, you're going to be like, yay, this is fun. But actually, for tournaments, there's nothing built to make it tournament friendly. For example, if you do operate the win-loss system with no secondaries, because you need a secondary, right? Yeah, so there's like a maximum number of people that you can have at an event, ignoring COVID, obviously. There's a maximum number of people you can have at an event before you need some other secondary system. Because it could be quite easy for a couple of, like a 100-person event, let's say, to have a couple of people that go 5-0.
Yeah.
Right? And so you need a secondary system. But the secondaries are baked in. So then what is a secondary? A dance-off? I'm in. Basically.
Yes. Yes. I'd win every tournament then. I'd actually might win a trophy at that point.
But you'd have to be in the top 5 to be in the dance-off, Adam.
Why? Can you not just dance your way to the top?
Oh, maybe. Maybe that would be a great event. Maybe you should have one of those, Rob, where it's like, play your games, we'll do the thing, and at the end everyone dances and I pick a winner. Done.
That sounds way better, to be honest.
It honestly sounds like a much better event system. James, I'm in.
That's my birthday party next year. That's what I'm doing.
And that's how RuPaul's Drag Race works. And I agree with Jumphammer. Let's do that.
Just do Drag Race.
Yeah. Chassé away or whatever it is. Sashay away.
Sashay away.
And Rambo Squirrel's making suggestions. The point is, there's lots of suggestions for what needs to be done. Someone needs to pick a lane. That's really important. So I just thought I'd bring it up. right? For instance, at a one-day event with 16 people, for example, for a singles event, you would have, from the first round, you would have 8 winners. From the second round, you'd have 4 winners. And from the third round, you'd have 2 winners. So you would still have 2 people, and you would still have to choose between them, and you need some sort of secondary. Whereas the points differential is... Anyway, I know it's super mathy and boring. Like, I completely get it. Like, you go to a tournament and there's some other bigger boy who you go, oh, I've won by this much, and then they just tell you a number and you walk away happy. You're like, oh, nice, thanks. Yeah, fucking big tick. Like that's all I'm saying. And I'm not one of the bigger boys. It's the other the bigger boys who are talking to me. They were like, oh, Rob, what we could do for the scoring system? I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know. Like, I hadn't thought about it. And then you got to think about it. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. But just, let's carry on. Let's talk about the battle plan, shall we?
We should use painting scores.
Maybe we should use painting scores, Adam. That's maybe
whoever wins the painting competition gets more points in the tournament.
Say that again for me.
Anyone who wins a painting competition gets more points in the tournament. And if you're a really nice person, you get more points.
Nathan, what do you think?
Sounds great. I'm in. Dancing, being nice, and painting. And playing Warhammer.
And playing
all at the same time.
Yeah, all at the same time. Should we use that system?
Can we paint? We should only be allowed to bring grey plastic, and you have to paint it as you play. So that everybody's got a level playing field.
Yep.
And everybody will have to be hungover. So we've got a level playing field there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other thing we have to do? Play Warhammer.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, we're doing that anyway. And the dancing, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, we're in. We've got it sorted.
Fucking smashed it there.
Absolutely smashed it.
There we go.
Absolutely smashed it. Anyway, my point is, loads to discuss there. Loads to discuss on that, and we'll do it on another show. Lots of people have got thoughts in the chat. Tennis Smash says, if the 40k system works, we should just use that. They're clearly trying to bring the systems close together. We should just embrace it. Guys ID says, I didn't want to say it, but I totally agree with Adam. So he just didn't want to say that, but like he does. Lee Bromley says, I'm drunk and obnoxious all the time. I do love the idea of painting your army at the start of the tournament. So you like move all your models as fast as you can. Your opponent's turn, they'll be like, I'm just going to move my models. Like, take as long as you like, mate. I just got to fucking edge highlight this motherfucker as fast as you can. That'd be great. But anyway, there's loads of interesting stuff there, and we'll talk more about it. First Brain Squig, Nick says, I would do most tertiary as the first divided and the most secondaries. If that was tied, then dance off. There's a problem also with the secondaries, like we discussed last week. 3, maybe 4 of the secondaries don't require you to even interact with your opponent. I can't see how it's not easy to just get at least 4 secondaries a turn, basically, a game. Like, they're super easy to achieve. Like, super fucking easy to achieve. Like, and then that's going to mean that it only comes down to primary. I wouldn't do secondaries as the divider if you were doing it in that system. I would actually do the primary, because I could comfortably sit on some home objectives, shoot the fuck out of you, and then just do some running around dumb objectives, simply put, yeah, and like, so secondaries, and then you're like running around trying to get me, and I'm just like, lol, all out attack, lol, unleash hell, right? And then you, like, my point is, and then it's like, it looks like I've just smashed secondaries for 5 games, and I really haven't engaged with you at all as a player. Whereas if you tracked it based on primary points, I'd be more excited. I think that means that you have to go out and you have to grab objectives, and you have to do more classic Age of Sigmaring, in my opinion.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense, because the primaries are they're the same throughout. Oh, no.
No, there's not. There's 4 different. There's 4 battle plans that are significantly different. Yeah. So.
All right. So I was just going to talk rubbish then. So I'll just shut up now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been doing it for ages, right? So, like, who knows? Right. We can make up % our different scoring. Yeah, there's loads of things we can do. Anyone who's out there who wants to get in touch with me, like, Rob, I've had a good idea. I'd love to hear it. I want to break it down, have some ideas. Obviously, I'm going to be running events here at the arena to kind of like try some systems out, kind of get some feedback on it, see what some like general average scores are, so that'll be really fun, and then try and improve, because there's some really large events going on around the world in the future, and they're going to want something that really makes sense, so you just don't end up, someone doesn't end up winning just because the scoring system isn't very good. That's just a weird fucking place to be, right? Or dance off. I'm there for it.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Dance off's the future.
Okay.
I think everybody's keen for that.
Yeah, I honestly think that the big takeaway from this particular show today is that more dance-offs at Age of Sigmar events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Not Nick,
dancing.
though. Nick's not got the knees for that anymore. And live stream it, of course. That would be amazing. Imagine that, commentating, like round 5, the game finishes, and then like I'm just there commentating, I'm like, so as you can see, we've got 4 people in first place on 5 wins, so it's dance-off time. Official Age of Sigmar rules at tournaments. Here we go. It looks like Adam's gone for classic white fella in a club dance routine, as have the other 3 players, because that's what they are, all the time. All the time. James is in there, and James, it looks like he's attempting to twerk. Not sure.
Always, every day.
Not sure what he's doing there.
Why? You love my twerking normally. I don't know why you dissed it live on air.
We could embrace TikTok at that point then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warhammer TikTok.
Yeah, man.
That's how we make it big.
Warhammer dances on TikTok. There you go.
T-Sports.
Yeah, screw Twitch. Just get on TikTok. Let's go.
Can you imagine that? We do all the shows in 30-second intervals. It'd take 3 hours. 3 hours worth of TikToks for Nathan to do a game.
Oh,
If it makes anyone feel better, next Monday, Nathan Prescott will have played 6 games of Age of Sigmar. So next Monday show will be 8 to 14 hours long. It's gonna be...
The games themselves will be longer.
they will. It's true.
Right, okay. Let's talk about these battle plans, shall we? Let's talk about it. So, you guys should be able to see them on the screen. Sorry, I'm still on the old computer. The till, technically. And thank you, everyone, for helping us out. In a moment, he just said it a moment ago, so I just want to shout him out. Percussive Scruff. I'm going to the Orlando Games Workshop GT as my first Warhammer event. Go on, Percussive Scruff. You got this. I'm taking the Sons of Behemoth, and I can't wait for the inevitable Clown Fiesta. That's going to be really fun. Nathan, you got any advice to a Sons of Behemoth player looking to play at his first ever event?
Yeah, go and stomp on people, pick people up, put them in your pants, have a great time. Win the dance off.
Always win the dance off. That's all that matters.
Always win the dance off. Yeah, I'm there. Right, okay. So, the battle plans. First, that's the wrong one. We'll start with the first one, shall we? You guys have got a copy available to you. So, first one's called Marking Territory. Some Warhammer TV
pissing on the
presenters.
balls.
There's a piss contest.
Some
there.
Warhammer TV presenters love this, but it's a different conversation. 2 warring tribes are locked in a battle for territory, both seeking complete dominance over the others. Who will yield first?
Me.
So it's 5 battle rounds, and this one doesn't require you to use any of the fucking extra things that occur. Like, no secondaries, no tertiary. This is starting from the 3rd battle round. 1 player immediately wins a major victory if they control all the objectives on the battlefield. If neither player has 1 major victory at the end of the battle, the player that's completed the most battle tactics, which is the secondaries, scores a minor victory. And if both players complete the same number of battle tactics, the only player completed their whatever grand strategy. And the battle plan looks like this. So some nice things to talk about now. If we're all using 44 by 60 boards, so the new minimum board size or maximum board, what minimum board size it's been talked about, is that all of the objectives in every one of the battle plans are located on this grid system. So as you can see, there are 4 objectives. They're 11 inches up and they're 15 from the side. So our deployment zone is now 11 inches as opposed to the previous 12 inches. James, I'm going to jump to you first. How do you feel about the loss of an inch?
Size doesn't matter. So until I run 140 Marauders, we're okay. And actually, I know that fits because I've run 140 Clan Rats the other day. It's fine. 11 inches is great.
11 inches is fine. Nathan, you normally try and fit a lot of fellas in your zone. How do you deal with this?
Just make them stand closer together.
Perfect.
And then that way they're also coherent which is the first time that can be said for any of my armies.
All right, Adam, what about you? You've played a couple of Battleplans now. How do you feel about the deployment zones generally?
Well, 14 Cockatrices used to stretch the entirety of a 6x4.
Yep.
So now they like take up even more of the room, and I can't actually. Sometimes I struggle to fit them all on with the terrain.
Oh.
So it's a little bit annoying, but it does mean because the deployments are now they're pretty much all 18 apart. It means that they're in range turn 1, so that's good, and that's all that matters. So Cockatrices, hey, oh yeah.
So the map, as you can see, is 44 inches long, right? So that means that each one of these little zones is 11 inches in total. So it's 22 inches to the center line, and you start 22 inches apart, which again is something new. It's 2 inches smaller, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does when you've got Archeon, who can move an extra D6 in Host Arcanum, or 6 inches in Host Arcanum. He's got his base move, and then, of course, has got the ability to pick Destiny Dice for a charge. Eels can move faster and move better, which I think is, basically anything...
Amazing.
Anything that already could do first-turn charges can do them better and closer now. So, like a little 2-inch change, which is pretty nice for some armies. And it's going to be really fun. So, there's something to be talking about that. It is 11 inches by 15. That's 100% correct. It's 11 inches up, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've nailed that. And then it's 15 inches from the board edge, because the board edge is 60 long, so the center point is 30, and then the edges. I'd like you to know that we are super lucky as Age of Sigmar players, and my huge shout to Games Workshop is that they've put the objectives on the center lines. So they've created this grid system, and they've put the objectives there. I don't know if anyone in the world has looked at how you put 40k objectives out, but it's a fucking nightmare. You have to measure to the center, and then all measurements are done from the center out.
They deserve it, to be fair. I've met a lot of 40k players, and
whoa,
to be honest,
careful!
They kind of deserve to have
Nathan's
to do that before every game.
Nathan is
Is
here.
it hard to measure from the center?
It's an extra step, right? Like, if you have to measure to the end from the center and then measure out, you could just measure the sides. I'm just saying the grid system is elegant and
You
lovely.
have to measure from somewhere. Why not measure from the center?
It's an extra step to do it from the center.
No, start.
Yes.
No,
Well, you just put a dot in the middle of your map.
and just measure from there.
Yeah.
I get Nathan's point, because as our number 1 Jakari player, he takes offense when we mock 40k.
Yeah, you do. Nathan, quick one about 40k. I know everyone, it's an Age of Sigmar show. But you know how the stats on AdMech are looking pretty good at the moment, especially with the new book. We were expecting the Jakari nerf came out, obviously 72% win rate. Jakari nerf, we expected it. Important for us all to know that, and it happened. Yeah, we saw the Jakari nerf. It hasn't really necessarily brought them down, but we all love the change to Dark Technomancers. But one of the biggest kind of conversations pushed by the 40k kind of aficionados, I guess certain members of the community would say all out attack or something, or they'd write an article about it. But the point is, there were certain defenders of Games Workshop said the next codex, which would be AdMech, would balance them out because that was more powerful than the Jakari. So even though there was an army with 72% win rate, there were going to be a new book that came out that was more powerful, which is AdMech, and it seems to be, which is crazy. And then they nerfed Jakari. The real question is, how do you feel about the fact there's a new campaign book coming for AdMech, which has been written in the community article, makes them even stronger? Thoughts?
Oh, I'm very happy with all of that. That's great.
Good. Really good. They're little robot fellas are getting stronger. I'm happy about it.
Oh, it's robot guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate them. But
Why don't you like the robot guys?
They've got no soul.
Don't know if that's true, actually, because they start out as humans, the Skitari.
I don't care. They've got no soul.
Nathan, definitely a Space Marine player.
Well, I hate those guys. Those guys are robot guys too.
Which guys do you like?
None of them. Just
I
faction. Just tell me, and I'll tell you that I hate them. That's
okay.
fine.
How about the Jakari?
Yeah,
let me see if I can.
those guys.
Let me see if I can twist your nipples on this one. The Jakari get pleasure from inflicting pain on others.
Oh, they're interesting, but yeah. I don't like them. They play the wrong. They're hate them all. Sod it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, throw this out the window. Marking territory. So this battle plan from you guys. So we talked about the objectives. There are 4 objectives. You start 22 inches apart, and it's like the olden days. You hold all 4, and then you win. How do you guys feel about a battle plan like this still existing in Age of Sigmar 3? You pro it? Do you feel like this is a kind of a weird one because you've got all the battle tactics and you've got the grand strategy and everything else? Like, where do you put this at the moment, right? Like, how do you guys feel about it?
Well, you still got to do the battle
Tactics.
tactics and stuff. Anyway.
In case you don't win the primary. If you win the primary,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you got to keep doing that. So that's cool. I like it. It used to be called Blood and Glory or
It did.
something. It's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. I think it's good. It's a good variation on the things. You've got to spread out and be able to control most of the map, which is quite a tough thing. There's some little tricky things though, because when does it happen? From the start of the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to be. Everybody's got to be aware about the fact that you can lose it automatically from the end of the 2nd round, pretty much.
Okay.
So,
James, how do you feel about a win everything in one go scenario?
The one thing I think is kind of interesting about this one is obviously one of the GER rules, I think, isn't it, at the minute, is that on the 3rd battle round, whoever's going second is also removing one.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
That's
it makes
crazy.
this map terrifying because realistically, you're never going to want to go first on round 3.
That's true. That's true because
forgot about that.
none of them
Yeah,
are
that's a big
primaries. So you're absolutely correct. You could control 3. Smashing idea. Adam, how do you feel about that?
I think it's one of the worst missions in the whole thing.
What? Tell me why.
So, like, the reason I've never really liked the win everything missions anyway, but the way that Age of Sigmar is going to work now, I just think it's really out of place. I think it's like a really odd thing to put in like a battle pack, especially with the GHB rules of removing the objective. Because like if you remove one and you control 3, then you've kind of not done what the mission is telling you, but you still win. So I think it's just really counterintuitive, and I just don't like it that much at all. I just think you just go all out. I don't think it's very beginner friendly either, because if you throw this into it with like beginners, then it's like, haha, I win on turn 2, dickhead, like, or turn 3. So I just think it's
you could be nice though, Adam, and not do that too.
Yeah, you could, but at the same time, fuck them. Or you just play a different battle plan that's probably better. I just think it's probably, I don't like this mission at all, to be honest. I think it's really bad. I'd never really liked Blood and Glory anyway. I've always found controlling 4 has been too many. And like trying to, if you're looking at tournament level, you put this one in usually to make people have that major sort of differences.
But
so, like,
for the split. But now we don't even know how scoring will really work at a tournament, right?
I don't think you're probably going to do that anymore, right? And it's going to make your scoring in your battle packs even more difficult because it's so different to every other mission that you're going to be putting in.
And I also think that there's a really good point being made by you there that it would be a nice change of pace. I think, but I feel like Age of Sigmar 3 is based around doing those battle tactics, doing the primary. So, like, let's do that. Let's play loads of battle plans that do those things. Practice that. I think that's going to be one of those ones. I'm not a big fan of this one particularly. It's nice it's in there to mix around, but I'm not too bothered about it.
I think with the fact that you can remove objective, that probably makes it a weaker plan if it didn't have that. But if you were going to put it in your tournament pack, I would have it maybe the last one, because then people of sort of equal skill are playing each other, and it's quite a good differential for that. So I think it's good in a pack where you've got lots of high, like maybe in the TTS stuff that you do. It would be a good one for that, like a team tournament one, or for players of high skill level playing it. But it's probably better with it's the fact that you could James pointing out that you can remove one of the things is quite does make it a bit terrifying.
Big shout out to Winner Dave in the chat is pointing out that you can only remove objective thing in the GHB battle plans, not in these 3 missions. So these are the core missions from the book. So you might not be able to do. Although I don't know if they overlay, Dave.
No, this is in the GHB, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a GHB one.
What, Savage Gains?
Marking territory.
Oh, marking territory. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's also, like Nick says in the chat, that as we get onto it later, there are objectives that are called primary objectives, which you can't remove with that ability, and maybe they should just be put in there. But yeah, I would say it's still one of the weaker ones. But based on Adam's point, that why aren't we just doing the thing that the kind of game is designed to do and doing our battle tactics, right, and that sort of jazz. I think that's quite exciting. Next up, Battleplans Savage Gains, which honestly, I don't know if you see Mark Wildman recently, but he's on those Savage Gains. He's looking very trim and proper, which is nice. These 2 forces can no longer suffer each other's presence in this region. A final clash will decide who claims these lands as their own and who bends the knee. Right, so, won't be Nick in the chat. I fucking hate that. It's because his knees hurt, is what I just want everyone to be aware. So this one does have prime objectives, which is what I was just talking about. The objectives located on the border of each player's territory are prime objectives. Unless noted otherwise, prime objectives cannot be removed from the battlefield. You deploy like normal. And this is basically Border War, if anyone's ever played Border War, which is you score 1 victory point for the ones that are in your territory. And then the one in your opponent's is worth 4, and the 2 in the middle are worth 2. So this one's a little bit different. Your grand strategy is worth 3, and your battle tactics are worth 2, of course. And it's the person who gets the most victory points at the end. So you start 22 inches away on this one from like your opponent's territory, and also their objective. And the objective is on the line, which means they can only have like in their 6 inches kind of like control zone, they can have half of their army basically, put as many bodies on there as they want, and then their opponent could probably flood that with half as many again. So you can't control you can't have the whole area, does that mean? You can't screen the objective is what I'm trying to say, because it's right on the border of the edge, if that makes sense. So there's like a little line in front of it where you can just put some dudes on top of. This is Border War. We've played this loads. This is good for trading, so dropping units on objectives and doing that sort of stuff. James, start with you. How do you feel about this one?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting to see like a bunch of basically the old maps return themselves. I always think Border War was a good one, so I guess it's nice to see it hanging around with us, joining the revolution of 3.0. Yeah, I think it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see Border War come back. It'll be nice to see it in a new setting, and I think it'll be cool to see it play out with some of those new command abilities. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty happy.
Okay, Nate, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, it's very similar to the one that was probably the most favourite in the first GHB, I think it was, or pre-GHB. The Border War one was, very popular. I'm sure it's going to be probably as popular. It looks, I don't know, maybe people might be a little bit bored of it because they've played it before. But it looks like a decent enough mission. Yeah.
Okay, all right, Adam, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, that's not a lot to
Yeah,
say.
I really like it. I think it's I think you're going to play it a lot differently to how you used to play it, just because of the fact that you burn one of those 2 middle objectives now. Because normally when you played like Border War, you'd throw like enough stuff into like the 2 center, or like you tag both center objectives like turn 1, and then you sort of fight it out over the rest of the game. And then usually one player would start to like sort of lose one side, and then they'd go for like the opponent's home objective from that, like whichever side that they've really pushed on. Whereas now, if you obviously go second in turn 3, you can remove whichever objective they may have like taken hold of, like because you usually see like that sort of switch on each middle objective. So like one player goes hard on one, the other goes on the other, and you try and like almost dog eye each other from the opposite sides of the board as you go past to try and get your home objective. And now you can burn stuff, but also because of where like the objective is and you can't screen it out very well, Alpha Army is going to be really enjoying this one because they can smash in quite hard and score really high really quickly and potentially score your opponent out the game by turn 2.
Which is, again, which is very interesting, having read these two particular battle plans, is that, again, it feels very counterintuitive to how almost all the other battle plans really are focused, right? Where it's hold one, hold more. Again, nice to have a mixture in the different battle plans. Nice to be able to play around differently and also make it so that you can design different armies. Thank you very much to Raid Onta for resubscribing. Big love to you. So it's very, very different, and I wasn't expecting to see this, to be honest, but I like it because this is probably one of my favourite battle plans for playing with new people. Like, it's super simple to show someone new. Like, you can kind of make them understand that some stuff is worth more. You can teach them how to trade on this. What do you think, Nath? How do you feel?
Yeah. It's super popular, and there is a reason why, because it's a nice plan to play. Easy to understand. I think also, if you know it's going to be in the pack, your list, it'll probably change up your list a bit because you need to be able to defend your objective from an alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and also you need little units to trade with, right, on those objectives.
Yeah, to go up and contest.
Although hopefully with MSU you'll have more of that anyway, but we'll see. 2 units of 2 snufflers on the objective, Nath?
No, snufflers don't move. They feed people mushrooms.
Like a chef.
So yeah, exactly.
All right, next one. Battle plan First Blood. Scouting is paid off for 2 forces vying to expand their domain. With the knowledge of what lies ahead, each side seeks to make an early show of dominance. Right, so there's no difference in the deployment. There's a vantage point, though, at the start of each battle round after the players have received their start of round command points. The player taking the second turn must pick one objective on the battlefield to be the vantage point. When a player receives their start of round command points, if they control the vantage point, they receive an extra command point. So if you're already holding it and you go second, you could get a bonus point for going second and another bonus point for having the vantage point, basically. And then this is what we now should refer to as maybe the traditional scoring, where it's 1 victory point if you control at least 1 objective, 1 if you control 2 or more objectives, and 1 if you control more than your opponent, and then you score 2 victory points if you complete the battle tactic, and grand strategy at the end is worth 3. So that's now, I'm not going to talk about that again, that's the classic scoring for each battle plan. Unless I say different. The attacker's territory is kind of in the corner, so it's a corner deployment, with the 3 objectives being deployed across the center line in a diagonal, and there's no objectives in your deployment, so you have to grab some stuff early. Adam, start with you. How do you feel about this one particularly?
The classic scoring is how I think every mission should be now, but I really like that. I think it's a really cool change to how you sort of score stuff, because it means you don't have to keep the objective, if that makes sense. So you can just keep trading off objectives to make sure that you get, right, cool, I'm going to score more this turn. It's fine that you get it, but I'm going to score more this turn. Because if they take it off you, then they're going to be scoring even, if that makes sense. So that is quite interesting. That none of them are primary objectives. So you can be removing whichever one you're losing, for example. So that's a cool change. And the fact that none of them are you can't contest them from deployment means that it's going to be really interesting to see both armies trying to get right in the middle and seeing how your opponent's reacting to whatever you do if you go first or whatever. So I think it's cool. I like the vantage point sort of special rule. I think that's a cool thing that the missions are interacting with your play style, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Also, again, just the ability to remove one of these 3 is pretty huge. Thanks to some Norwegian dude for gifting a gift subscription to Final Fantasy XIV Forge Master Flex. Really appreciate that. Nathan, how do you feel about this battle plan?
Yeah, I think it looks interesting and be cool to play it. I think to find out. A little bit concerned. Obviously, your territory is quite small. So it's only three boxes instead of 4 boxes. So small for armies, but also for faction terrain.
Yep.
There's a good chance that you won't be playing with your faction terrain in this one.
Oh, why?
I think. I think people could zone out the Loon Shrine and stuff like that. So you wouldn't.
Can I give some
be
good
able
advice?
to-
Because I think it worked really well at the event I ran. Yeah, you're like, yeah, Rob, get your run events. Fuck off. Like I get it. Like I do. But I just have.
Did you used to be a doorman?
Oh my
mate,
god, fuck off.
as well?
The point is I just had preset.
Oi, Rufio.
I just had preset terrain, and then really simply, you just you just say that your faction terrain must replace a piece of terrain on the board. It's that easy.
Nah, it's a terrible idea.
Super easy.
How would I block people in with blue chip?
You just can't, right?
Yeah,
You only get one now.
that's
And you're only
stupid.
allowed one.
Nah, I'm taking 2. Fuck you.
Thanks to Budtastic Guy for resubscribing. Big love to you. So yeah, like I would just say do that. Like I get Nathan that isn't going to happen everywhere, but if you ever play it at the events here, that'll be the situation. Because why would you want to negatively impact Gits? I mean, I don't know if I would sacrifice the Gits to make it so you couldn't have the Luminous Realm Lord Shrine. Maybe, like
Yeah. They'd struggle, Herdstone, those sort of things would struggle a bit.
That poor Herdstone.
And the other thing is, it would be interesting to play it a few times because I don't know if it does reward the player going second overly much, especially the third turn. People are not. You're going to be rolling a dice and hoping to win so that you can go second. I think a lot of the time. So that's quite. It'd be interesting to see it played a few times to see if they're over rewarded, if the person that's going second is benefiting too much. Interesting to see
yeah, okay,
that one
that's fair. That's fair. Thanks to General Beef
without having played it.
Yeah, without actually playing it. All right. Tristan in the chat said he played this recently and he loved it. He said it was a great battle plan. Adam, how do you feel about this one?
I've already told you. Fuck you.
Sorry, James. Apologies, James.
You could ask Adam again.
I mean, you can ask me again because I've just someone said in the chat about the Law Seeker, and I've just built one. So he's going to be great, right?
Oh.
Put him on.
Why have you only built one? Can't you take any?
Oh yeah, because he's not unique anymore, is he?
Well,
So
wait for the FAQ. I don't want to be that guy, but wait for the FAQ. Come on.
So we now
wait for the FAQ.
6 Law Seekers. Let's go.
Slanesh would definitely pointed for Age of Sigmar 3.
4.
Sorry.
4. I saw it on Twitter.
Well,
This battle plan's nice. I'm excited to watch Nathan try and get all his grots in there and a Loon Shrine now, just for fun. Other than that, looks good.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, I love the grid system for marking out territory. It's fucking mint. Like, so good. Because I might just get a bunch of sticks. Nathan, I know you love sticks. So I might just get some 11-inch sticks. And then, what's the other one? 15-inch sticks. And then just get those. And you can just be like, bop, bop, bop. And just make your deployment zone super easy. Really easy to tell where everything is. So I'd love that. That's going to be an easy one. Grid system might be the best part of AOS 3. Percussive Scruff, agreed. Yeah, once you look at it and you think, do you know what? Fuck yeah to the grid system. I'm all about it. Not how American cities plan their cities. That grid system kind of does me in. Because it's always fun when you go to an English city and then you're like, where was that road? And you just walk around for ages, not quite sure where the road was. And then eventually you get lost. It's the worst.
And then you hit a roundabout and you're like, fuck me, where am I now? No.
Didn't you just open Google Maps, put in where you want to go?
yeah, exactly. Sounds like you want to be playing fucking chess or noughts and crosses with the way you like grid so much.
Fine, but I'm not going to. And some Norwegian says, I love my score seeker. Well, that's good. You can still love one. I'm just saying not multiple score seekers. Okay, 6.
What? Why are you limiting people just to love one? Why can't they love multiple?
You can be a
What's wrong with
pan
you,
score seeker, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Just.
Good.
But a max
of
6.
Like,
seven's too many.
Yeah, there has to be a line, right? There's only so many places you can be. 6.
And realistically, you're only going to want 5 because you're also going to want a 7.
Yeah, and you might not be emotionally
So,
connected to all of them. Like, that's true. So, I think 6 is a lot to love. I'd maybe pick 3 maximum.
I'd go 5.
There's a lot of love to
5.
give. is all I'm going to say.
I've got a lot left to give.
Yes, Meatball says, I've been in Preston for 3 weeks. I am convinced that all these place names are fictional just to troll foreigners. Okay, all right. Right, next one. Power struggle. 2 stubborn warlords have created a stalemate at the borders of Thondia. Where's Thondia? Great. Both refusing to fall back to resupply. Now they must commit everything they have to secure new ground. So, deployment's the same, but there's a special rule, hold your ground. In this battle, some victory points are only scored for objectives you control, once you control that objective for 2 of your turns consecutively. These turns can carry over into the next battle round. And it's scored 1 victory point if you've controlled at least 1 objective for 2 of your turns consecutively. Score 1 victory point if you controlled. So it's the normal scoring, 2 for the battle tactics, 3 for grand strategy. But you have to control them for 2 turns as opposed to 1 turn. So this is power struggle, and then it's kind of the focal points map. Nathan, how do you feel about this? You got to stand on stuff for longer.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess it favors defensive armies quite a bit. People that are going to stand around and project power from a standing on place. So shooting army is going to have a great time, or maybe Sons of Behemoth standing on, and they're good at that. Whereas smaller armies that like to move around, take an objective, then move somewhere else. Or I guess they still control it. But they have to make sure that nothing can get back there. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see the type of armies that win this. I think it favors bigger, more static armies. So shooting armies, that sort of thing, as opposed to fast mobile armies that run in and steal objectives and then run off somewhere else. So that's my gut feeling. Yeah, just interested to see. Yeah, that scoring mechanic is weird, but
I think it's going to really benefit teleporting armies, actually, because you're going to have to defend those 2 back objectives quite nicely. And it's really whether or not anyone's going to throw anything into the middle there. Because whatever you throw in the middle has got to survive for 2 turns. So it's all going to be about chipping away at the guys on those back objectives. Or maybe dropping some boys in the back, and then just trying to make it so they don't score, which is going to be the one. Some Norwegian who says 4 score seekers, 2 wardens, 2 30 sentinels, and shackles. Just breaking hearts is what he's saying on this particular battle plan. James, how do you feel about this one?
I have
nice.
played this one. This is one of the ones I played. So I thought it was quite interesting because what you end up finding is you're basically going to camp your back ones, fight over that middle one, and then try and score secondaries, I think, is basically how it ended up playing. But I think this one probably favours anyone with a buttload of shooting or strong shooting, because it means you can remove your opponent from their back ones as you kind of saunter across the board to take them. So yeah, it was good fun. I think it'll be really interesting. I think the more we learn about the game, it will get better. But I thought that the only issue with this one was that it did mean lots of armies, if they were playing someone mobile, meant that a good chunk of their armies got to just basically sit at the back of the board for at least 2 turns.
Yeah, maybe most of the terms. I think that's one of the most interesting things. Is you could maybe try to potentially abandon the primaries, but the secondaries are too easy to achieve. So I think this one's one of those ones where I think it could end up being quite a boring game. Adam, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's it's really cool. I think there's lots of ways to actually win it. Like Nathan obviously said about you've got to be you want a static army maybe, and then you said about teleporting, and then James said about shooting. Whereas I reckon you have to charge forward with everything. If you use mobile little units like eels, you throw them forward, you kill a unit, and then you take it off them just for a turn. Even though if you don't score it, you're stopping them scoring it. So I think there's loads of different ways to actually play this mission, which I think is really cool. So I think sort of everyone has got game on it. Whereas some missions I think are so favoured to or skewed to other armies. Whereas I think pretty much every army can actually play on this one. So I think it's a really good one,
So-
especially for a tournament.
So it says. Sorry to interrupt, but it says score 1 victory point if you control 2 or more objectives for your 2 turns consecutively.
Yeah.
So if somebody controls it for a turn in between, that's their turn. But you've controlled it for 2 of your turns consecutively, you still score the point?
Yeah, I think so. Although the control for objectives is checked for at the end of each player's turn.
Yeah, but it specifically says your turns as opposed to just 2 turns.
Yes, 100%. So so it's still scoring. I just didn't want to like say yes without clarifying that you still do score you do still check who controls objectives, but this one overrides because of the wording on it, if that helps.
Yeah, yeah, but you can still if you take it means you're still forcing them to play on their objectives, which means then they're not contesting yours. So when you just keep taking the middle one, and then you get in that score more every time, or you just play on 2 objectives and just play secondaries.
I see what. Oh, so the extra victory point you can score for controlling more objectives than your opponent, that doesn't rely on you controlling it for 2 turns either, does it? So that's probably where you're also looking to pick up extra scores as well. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The middle is so important.
Yeah, super interesting.
So if you keep trading on the center to keep reclaiming it, you're still scoring over 2 turns, right? Although it's going to suck when someone removes the one in your territory.
Well, yeah, because the one in the center doesn't have to be over 2 turns. It can just be 1 turn, because then you'll be controlling 3 to their 2, and even though you've not done it for 2 turns consecutively, you still score the point because it just says if you control more than they do. It doesn't have to be consecutive. That's when you score the extra point. But then obviously they'll have the opportunity to do the same thing. So you'll have to possibly try and dominate. Yeah, that's cool. Interesting. I think it favors like a bigger army, but I'm not sure. It'd be cool to play it and see.
Just thanks to Team Badgers for resubscribing. Arky on the 3, King on the chat. It says controlled for 2 of your turns consecutively. If you lost it at the end of your opponent's turn, then you've not controlled it for your turn. You regain control it at the end of your turn. That's a good point. So some clarification on that one. That's we go. Rob, we're hearing alerts, by the way. You shouldn't be hearing alerts. I apologise about that. I'll try and resolve that.
If you have control at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think it's cool though. If you like you're saying, if you control it at the end of your turn and then they take it back and then you control it. If you just take your opponent's objective with 3 models and then they at the end of your turn you've got it, they then take it back. If you take it back again in your turn, you score that one.
Yeah.
So you can just throw little things forward still. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a brain squeeze.
This one's going to come down to secondaries every time, I reckon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good point. Thanks, Arky on 3, Arking, for writing that up. I'm going to write down power struggle is a word struggle for myself, and then go get some clarity on that one. I think I would probably, I don't know, Nathan, how would you judge that, right? Right now, not saying it's ambiguous, but how would you
Yeah, I think if you just read it quickly through the first time, you might think that you have to control it and stop your. If you can interrupt your opponent in your turn, that you might interrupt their controlling of it. But my reading of it is that you don't. But I don't know if that's what they're wanting to happen, if that's what they're intending. So possibly an FAQ would be cool, like an example.
I think it has to be continuous.
Like yeah.
Is the point? I think that's what they're looking for.
Okay, because it definitely says for 2 of your turns consecutively.
I'm going to put continuous.
You would have thought if you would have thought they, without your opponent controlling
Yeah.
it in between
I
or
agree.
something like that, which they haven't put. So maybe that's not what they've intended, because this is probably the second or third time I've read it, and I've picked, that's a point that I've picked up on, and that's the third. I've only read it a few times, so I would have thought that they would be aware of that point, and this must be what
Okay.
they've intended. But
Okay.
it could be
Good
wrong.
points. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, probably one for
Alright, nice.
FAQ though.
Okay, well, until then, I'm going to just decide it's continuous and then wait for an FAQ, basically.
What
You
does
have to have held
continuous
it
mean?
continuously without your opponent gaining control of it for 2 turns to score a point.
Okay. Without
But
them.
Can you define 2
Yeah,
turns?
for 2 of your player turns.
What's my player turn? If you're like,
Sure, no
could you
problem.
FAQ that for me,
Yeah.
please?
The FAQ is a yellow card, and if you ask me again, it's a red card, and I throw a sponge at you.
What do you mean by yellow?
What are colours and thoughts? Yeah. Right. Next up, survival of the fittest. In Gur, only the mightiest may rule, and strength is proven at the edge of a blade. Commanders will unleash their greatest warriors against one another, trusting in the primal laws of combat to determine the victors. So this has got a special rule called top of the food chain. After armies have been set up, but before determining who has the first turn in the first battle round, each player must pick 3 different friendly units on the battlefield, starting with the attacker. These units are the predator units for your army. Problematic. Now, the victory points are you score 1 victory point if you control at least 1 objective, standard scoring. Score 1 victory point if you control 2 or more objectives, standard again. Score 1 victory point if you control more objectives, standard again. But then, score 1 victory point for each enemy predator unit that was destroyed by a friendly predator unit that turn. So if 2 predators meet, one of them gets shanked in jail, I imagine. So that's how this works. And then 2 for your battle tactics, which is kind of fun because I like this. I think this has got some legs to it. In kind of who you pick to be your predators and who they pick to be your predators. You've got more territory this time, Nate. It's bigger. You've got 5 boxes each, and all of the objectives are in the centre again. James, I'm going to jump to you. I feel like you've got the most experience on this kind of subject. How do you feel about survival of the fittest?
Well, always being prey because I'm small. Always being prey because I'm small.
Okay, but there's no prey. There's only predators. You're not allowed to pick prey. 2, 3,
Oh, well,
6 predators
that's what I
enter.
am.
Hopefully.
Not leave. It's interesting, isn't it? This is an odd one for me because I think it's interesting that they basically chose the same objective deployment again.
Yeah.
I know the map's different, and in theory we've got some extra score for predators killing predators, but I think that's a really odd one because realistically, unless you've got a unit you know is going to annihilate theirs, charging one, you're like, oh, I've just given away a point.
It's
or
really
gained a
interesting,
point.
actually, because, so let's say I'm running the Archeon host list, right? I'm obviously going to pick Archeon to be a predator because then he's going to be the powerhouse to go and kill stuff. Obviously, this is also a hilarious battle plan to talk about all the time. So I'm going to pick him to be the predator, but then what's my opponent going to do in that situation? Because obviously, I know my opponent's going to pick Archeon to be the predator. So do I pick 3 guys that are never going to go near Archeon? So do I give up ever trying to get the 1 bonus point and try and basically make it so that he never gets the 3 bonus points? Does that make sense? Yeah. So there's some and it's nice that you choose every time versus who you play. I love that. I think that's really cool. Adam, what do you think?
Of someone with a baby face walking into a room full of 40-year-old men playing Predators, I'm not kind of scared about this mission, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd definitely be a predator for Adam. I'll take it all back.
You're on board.
I'm
You're
on
on board. Nathan, how do you feel?
Yeah, I just like the fact that there's a little added something. Instead of standing around scoring points off of standing on special pieces of ground, you're going on a hunt effectively. So it's cool. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. I think yeah, I just like that not all the games are the same, like standing around controlling pieces of ground, which is sometimes a bit weird. So this is, you're actually going to go and target 3 units in your opponent's army, and they're probably going to be the toughest units in their army, and you're going to be using your toughest dudes. So it's a fight of the toughest dudes versus the toughest dudes, maybe. Or maybe you'll do some sneaky stuff like make one of the dudes a fungoid cave shaman, and then he'll just blast people with his spore maul.
Okay. Yeah, like I think there are loads of ways to play this. You can play a lot like, the church. You can try and like attack their predators while defending your predators. There's loads of ways to play it, I think. Adam, have you got...
What church,
Let's
though?
not talk about that. It's the key point. Adam, any final thoughts on survival of the fittest?
I'm definitely going to make one of the cockatrices a
Okay,
predator.
good. I feel they should have used different language, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, a predator is a word. It's got several
It
meanings.
does.
So.
And we're always going to
What
use this
word
one.
would
Huh?
you use instead?
Perpetrator.
Perpetrator.
Offender. That's what I choose. Choose 3 offenders.
Okay.
This isn't a war on words. I was just...
You could definitely do one of your cockatrices up with that special armor, that camouflagey armor.
All right.
that
What about
Predator
this?
wears.
What about this, Nath? What about sneaky dudes? Sneaky fellas. You choose 3 sneaky fellas, and they choose 3 sneaky fellas. Doesn't have to be fellas.
Sneaky predators.
All that. That's
Yeah.
That's not.
Back to
That's no. Okay. Next one. Oh, go on, Nate. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say I went to
Interesting.
we took the girlfriend on a safari
you?
trip yesterday to West Midlands Safari Park, and we went to the predator cage, which was full of lions. So
Oh, you were
I can't
right
believe
by
you-
my house? Well,
I can't
not
believe you
that
didn't
close,
call
but
me
close
to.
enough.
I can't believe you didn't call
predator
me
cage.
to bring me. It's genuinely gutted.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It was great. I had a giraffe licking my hand.
A giraffe?
Great. Anyway, there you go. That was licking.
Yeah,
my hand.
that's some big tongue, right?
Yeah,
were the
impressive.
giraffes in Zimbabwe where you were growing up?
Yeah, they didn't
Why?
lick our hands though. These are weird ones. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. If you live near Birmingham, you have to lick things.
Yeah, that's how we work.
Right, next up. Tectonic Interference. From the Fractum Crevasse, to the coasts of Tusks, Thondia is rocked by powerful earthquakes. 2 armies have met in the midst of such a series of tremors, seizing what ground they can before Gur's rage reduces it. So this has got prime objectives. In this battle, there are prime objectives, unless noted otherwise. A prime objective cannot be removed from the battlefield, and there are 3 prime objectives. And then you've got the alpha and the beta objectives. At the start of each battle round, before determining who has the first turn, roll a d3. The objective with the corresponding number is the alpha objective for that battle, and the other 2 are the betas. So in this situation, you score 2 victory points if you control the alpha, you score 1 victory point for each beta objective you control, and you score 2 for doing your battle tactic. And then 3 for your grand strategy. And they're all a big smash in the center. All 3 objectives. They're 15 inches apart, which is actually, if you think about it, it's kind of really interesting. Because it's a 6 inches control zone off both sides. There's only 3 inches between objectives for trading back and forth. So you can comfortably kind of run between objectives and do all sorts of junky stuff, which is kind of fun. I just think there's something fun to think about. So there we go. Tectonic Interference. Adam, start with you. How do you feel about this one?
I feel like it should be that meme with the bloke and the butterfly asking if this is shifting objectives. But
Is this shifting objectives?
Shifting objectives? Yeah, it's like it's a fine mission, but I think it's just I always find these ones quite boring because you end up just sort of sat in the middle, and then there's sort of not a lot of play. I think it would have actually been almost more interesting if you could actually burn one, and then there's only 2 that could be alpha or beta by turn 3. But like it's fine, isn't it? Like you're just gonna smash in the middle and hope you win. No.
Okay, Nate, what do you think?
It's a bit weird.
Yeah, it's obviously meant to try and make armies that are a bit more able to fight it out in the center. But yeah, it's just squashed shifting objectives, isn't it?
It is just a squashed shifting objectives. Okay. Like I don't think there's loads to talk about on this one. It's just shifting objectives, not that different. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how some armies play on this one compared to the others, especially because obviously bonus victory points for holding more than your opponent. Oh no, it's not more, is it? It's just different. It's alpha and beta.
No.
I probably wouldn't put this in a pack, to be honest. This is like me and Adam said earlier. Not to parrot on, but like you're not doing any of the secondaries or any of the cool stuff, so you're just like you're running at me, I'm running at you, and it's just like cool. Which one of us gets near this objective first? End game. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems really boring. Like,
You still get them for doing secondaries.
Oh yeah, the battle tactics. You still get them. Sorry. Yeah, you still get the battle tactics for 2.
But you don't get the primary one. The what's it called? The fucking over.
Grand
The one you put on
You
your
do
list.
get that. You
Grand
do get that.
Challenge. Oh, you get that as well. No. Oh, sorry, you misled me.
Yeah, I think this is boring. I probably wouldn't put it in a pack. Next up, Apex Predators. Amidst the storm-racked Thunderscorn peaks, 2 armies have met at the site of an ancient tribal tomb. Should a war leader prove themselves worthy, the spirits of Gur will infuse them with a new power. So deployment and everything's all the same. The Altar of the Beast. The normal rules for objective marker control and contesting objectives are not used. The only way to gain control of an objective are as follows. A friendly leader unit finishes a move other than a retreat move within 3 inches of the objective, and no enemy leader unit is within 3 inches of that objective. An attack made with a melee weapon by a friendly leader unit within 3 inches of the objective destroys an enemy leader unit within 3 inches of the objective. Once you've gained control of the objective, it remains under your control until your opponent gains it. Blah, blah, blah. Score 1 victory point if you control at least one, and it's normal scoring this points on. Other than you score... Oh, no, it's normal scoring, right? I'm just going to jump out here and say that this is probably one that I will never put in a pack ever. Is what I'm going to say. So this is Place of Arcane Power. Adam, what do you think?
I think it's fitting that the leaders are the Predators this time. I think that's probably good. But like, yeah, it's just every time if you ever played Arcane Power, it's always just shit. Because if you have that one, but you play that army that has like 2 little heroes, and they're like, oh, you have Sentinels, and then the Sentinels shoot them off, and you go, oh, cool, I can't win anymore. And every time you play it, it's always feel bad. You're just making the big monster
which are
heroes
already
even
amazing in
better,
this edition.
and they're good
which
enough
are already
now.
amazing in this edition.
They're fucking insane. If you've got Marathi, you auto win. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many armies out there, like Archeon, Marathi. I mean, even Ilarial. Like, she could fucking do some work in this. So there's a plus, I suppose. But I just think it's just benefiting those monster heroes even more when they don't need it. I think you should be looking at the armies.
Yeah, I'm super
So,
against this. Massively against this, as is the chat. James, what do you feel?
Yeah, I think Adam's right. I think like what you don't want to encourage, isn't it, is everyone to have the same list anymore. Like there's different ways to play, there always has been, but I think like with all those new tactics and things, we've added loads to the game. Like from the games I've played, like Rally can be game changing, can be a laugh. The movement one can be a laugh. Like, and then on this, you're like, oh, I brought a Marathi list. She takes a point. She stays there. Oh, I've also got a Cauldron. That's pretty tanky too. oh, there's 2 points sort of thing.
Marathi takes 2 points.
Yeah,
'Cause there's
and
two
then
of her.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there is 2 of her.
Yeah, she just sits on 2 and then just goes, yeah, all right, you lose, dickhead.
Yeah, and then you play someone, like Beast of Chaos, and you're like, oh, what did you bring? And you're like, the only hero I have with 5 wounds.
Yeah, or Gotrek runs in the middle and it's
Great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep this mission. There we go. All right, cool. This mission's
Yeah,
great.
so I'm
Let's
against
keep playing
this
it.
as a battle plan. So Nathan, unless you got anything else, unless you can try and be the ray of positivity on an Apex Predator, let's move on.
No, obviously, if there's a chance that this is in a tournament pack, and you want to win the tournament, then you're pretty much forced into taking a monstrous hero, and possibly if you can too, or just take Marathi, like you say, or Nagash or somebody like that.
But do you know what,
Yeah.
though? If that's the battle plan that you're trying to achieve, and also, like, you're like, I want... Like, if you call your event the King of the Monsters, yeah? Right? Then, and you'll end up with loads of monstrous heroes, and you put this in there, then, like, you're tailoring your pack to... You want that, right? You want all the god monsters to smash face. And ultimately... I think this conversation is maybe a little bit more interesting if you have a tournament pack where you ban named characters. I think the game becomes a little bit more interesting, but Adam's point is still the same. A bunch of Sentinels potentially just delete you. Like, it's not our fault Sentinels exist. They exist, right? And they just delete characters from the game. Not even them, wind chargers.
Like, it's not even just Sentinels,
like-
is it? Yeah. So many things that can do it now. You've got the wind chargers, you've got Sentinels, you've got Flamers still exist with Unleash Hell. Because it's like, if you put something in the middle and they charge on with their little hero, you just go, haha, Unleash Hell, kill their leader off. So he can't even take it at that point.
That's true.
So, like, there's so many units that can just snipe out heroes. There's so much magic that can snipe out heroes that it's just a bit of a
But
weird
what about the
mission to
Score
keep.
Seeker? He'd love this.
Oh, Lawseeker's living his best life.
Oh
especially
my
6
god.
of
He'd
them.
be like, the law is, I win and you suck. That's the law. That's the big law. Okay, next up, because we can just fire past that one and never talk about it again. The Vice. If you do put Apex Predators in your pack, I'll be disappointed. I just want you to know that. 2 forces have come to blows amidst the shadows of an ancient crevasse. As the battle unfolds, both generals discover that the chasm is gradually closing in around them. Victory here must be swift as any for any hope of escape. This is super sweet because it's nice to know during lockdown that the games designers were playing. They were playing unknown player battlegrounds or whatever. Yeah, they were playing Fortnite. They were playing Fortnite with James. So prime objectives. The objectives in this battle are prime objectives, so they can't be removed. The Vice, at the start of the second battle round, before determining who has the first turn, each objective is moved to a new location as shown on the map. And at the start of the fourth battle round, before determining who has the first turn, remove 3 objectives from the battlefield, so 1 remains, and you place it at the center of the battlefield. So basically, you end up with 4. Yeah, there are 4. Yeah, it's just a circle. So there are 4 objectives that start in the corners. Then they get closer to the center. Those 4 objectives on the second turn, and then in the fourth turn, it's just 1 objective in the center. And you score, and then it's scoring as before. So you score 1 victory point if you control 1 victory point if you score 2 or more. So it's the normal scoring, right, basically. This one is fascinating because it rewards you scoring super early, and then you might as well just not play on turn 4 and 5. But kind of. I don't know. Like, you start quite far apart as well. You'll start 30 inches away from your opponent, which I think is really. Is it how far do you start away from your opponent? Actually, just double check.
No,
24. So you
it's
start 24 inches away from your opponent, which is going to be wild. So, it's going to be really hard to push into their kind of territory and grab their objectives off them. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm being pessimistic on this one. James, what do you think?
I play a lot of Fortnite, so I am keen to Warhammer.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like if you're playing Eels, not looking at Adam, and on turn 1 you've got loads of mobility, you can take a load of points, score really high, then I think it could be another one where there's not much of a game by the end. I almost feel like it would have benefited if it was kind of like when they come into the middle, they're worth more points. But we don't have
they
that,
are,
so we do it.
effectively.
Yeah, I would say they are more points, aren't they? 'Cause if you control the one in the middle, then you're effectively scoring 2 because you're scoring
3
more
points. Yeah, you're scoring 1 for controlling objective.
Yep.
1. 2
You
points,
get
sorry.
2
2
You
points.
don't get the control.
So
Yeah.
I think I almost feel like it would be made exciting if, like, on the last turn you were scoring, like, I don't know, 8 for that middle one, just because it would make it an absolute clash of titans in the middle. But you'd be like, well, if I outscore every turn, that last one doesn't matter. If that makes sense.
Okay, that does. Nate, how do you feel about this battle plan?
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I think it favors armies that are stronger in the late game because I don't think you're gonna be. There's gonna be a big fight. I don't know. It's toughy. I do think it favors armies that are stronger towards the end of the game, so summoning and stuff like that. I think. So if that's not your army, you are going to try. You're going to have to try and get ahead early because they're going to come back strong. So when it's on the 4th battle round, so they've got the chance of having 2 turns of scoring 2 points. So it's 4 points, and if you can't contest, then you're not going to be scoring any points. And as Adam and James have already said, it sounds like games are quite close anyway. 4 points is quite a big point swing. So, yeah. So I think this is a bit like what Star Strike used to be, where the game is decided later on as opposed to early on, which is interesting.
I think you can make a mistake on this battle plan, right? I think you can put 2 small units at the back of the board, right? Because you're going to want to kind of like you're going to deploy your army basically where your 2 objectives are, more towards the center, hoping to get in the middle and fight your opponent for territory when it eventually lands there, right? You're basically going to be like guard dog in the middle, which means you're going to put most of your forces towards the front, and then you might not necessarily put anything like super defensive at the back of the board. So you might just use like a little 5-man unit, a little 10-man unit to hold that back objective. If you think about Lumineth as an example, they're a kind of good, they're ignoring like wind charges and stuff. Are you going to put 2 units of 10 wardens in the backhand corners? Like, that means that they're not at the front. Like, what are you doing with your like army composition to defend those? And then if you just put 5 snufflers at the back, let's say, but then they're not near the guys at the front doing the buffing up, which they need to do. And so you put like 5 hoppers at the back or something, then that means those shadow stonkers nip across the board, and they could take that objective off you on that first turn as like a first turn gambit sort of a situation. So like, all those Hurricane Wind Chargers can just move 48 inches, shoot, fight, clear that objective, and then run back 48 inches, like whatever. Any of those things could happen, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, there's if this is in the battle pack, you're really going to have to say to yourself, right, I want to dog it in the middle. Like I want to go toe to toe, mano a mano, get the fists up, start dropping elbows, yeah, just fucking breaking kneecaps. Let's go. But back doors are open, lads. Yeah, you got to be careful. No one wants to get pincered in the butt. So, not what some people do, but
and we have the amount of predators around.
There's a lot in these battle plans, at least. Something to think about. Yeah, so I think that's going to be one of the things to think about. Is all I'm going to say.
I think it's the best mission in the thing.
You like this one?
No, I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
I think it's probably one of the most. It's one of those missions where you've got to be thinking 2 turns ahead, like all the time.
Okay.
Because if you leave something like too expensive back, like you were saying, how are you going to then get yourself forward? I actually think this is quite a good mission for the shitter armies, because like they've got more terrible units that they can leave behind. So things like Beasts of Chaos, they can sort of like throw something shit out, and it actually hampers the sort of top tier armies, because like they're like you talk about how you deploy and then how you unpack. Like it's really difficult to unpack in this mission, because the way you deploy has to be different to how you'd normally deploy.
Yeah, you sort of unpacked already, and then you got to pack up towards the center. But
so it's how you deploy out and then come back in.
Yeah.
And if you're only like 4 or 5 inch move, which is actually quite a lot of infantry units, like you're going to struggle to bring yourself back in. So I actually think it's a really good mission. Like, I really, really like this one. It fucks your objectives though, so I think that's why they've released it.
Interesting. Oh, our objective markers. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a fucking.
Well, you just put
Stupid.
put them all out and then just activate the ones. So you need to sell more of them.
Ah, yeah, you need more. There you go.
Just by
4, 8,
52.
9. You need 9. Do you sell them 9s? How
Do
many
we sell them in 9s,
We
James?
sell them in 8.
Piss.
Oh, so you'd have to buy 2 packs. There
Yeah.
you go.
Clever, James. Clever work. Yeah. Yeah, that one's really good.
The person I never tried to be.
Yeah.
Sell a pack of 4 quarter ones so that you can put them.
Also, have you not thought?
we tried
Have you not
that.
thought about?
It's just
Have you not
annoying.
thought about the fact that they've released the ability to delete an objective just to fuck us, James, so that you have to move the ring. Although we should just sell a
Slide
bunch
them.
of like burning like tea lights on fire situation. We're like, oh, that one's burnt now. Fuck that. Like,
Nah,
Just,
everyone just got
you
to do
just
that
put an
magic trick.
objective coin in the middle and then take it away.
yeah, that works. That works. Well done.
You just got to do the magic trick where you like slide
Easy.
it
Yeah,
out.
you got to do the magic trick. The whole thing.
Or that maybe
Yeah.
we could do magic lessons. They'll be on the shop in an hour.
Yeah, there you go.
I like doing it with a whole battle mat, so I get the different battle mat that's underneath. Whole thing. Get it gone. Right, next up, after the device, is the battle plan Tooth and Nail. In the drowned lands of Thondia. Love Thondia. It can take days for reinforcements and navigate the bogs and marshes.
Is everyone just here at the same time?
What?
Like every army just in this
In
place?
Thondia.
Everyone's in Gur.
Yeah. We're all in Gur.
Oh,
The whole
yeah.
thing's in
In this-
Gur. Yeah.
So everyone's here now?
Yeah.
Literally everyone.
Yeah.
Did you not hear?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Did you not hear? So what basically happened was Archaon was like 8 points, not cool anymore.
Right.
Let's go to Thondia. And then everyone was like, oh, if Archaon's there, it's probably cool. And then Nagash
right.
was like, oh,
He
need some souls.
he's the
Did he tell
influencer
everyone
of
about All Out Defense?
he's the influencer of the Mortal Realms. He's on TikTok in Thondia being like, this is the place to go. He's drinking some Grey Goose. Yeah, people are flocking to him. He's like, this is a paid promotion for Thondia hotels. He's got
Wait, they say I didn't think we used paid promotions in Games Workshop
that.
things.
They've started
I
to.
thought we didn't tell. We don't. No, you don't tell people about those, do you?
I mean, legally you need to. I'm just going to point that out, but
Not important.
not important. Thanks, Ratatron, for resubscribing. Big love to you. Right, I'm not in Gur like the I'm not in Gur like Cummings. I've told everyone to fuck off and I've gone on holiday. All right, so Tooth and Nail has got 2 very interesting rules. Number 1, no reserves. Yeah, all units must be set up on the battlefield before the battle begins. Love that. If a unit is set up in reserve, all of the models that are Stormcast in the unit are slain and the unit is destroyed, or Stormcast, or whatever. Yes.
I mean, there's loads though now, isn't there? There's
Yeah.
loads. Like when those first came
Right,
out, and I
cool.
was a Stormcast player, and it was like, oh, only buggers me. Whereas now, loads of
Yeah.
things get ruined by it.
Yeah, I don't care. This is great.
Good.
Yeah, good is all I'm going to say. Ebert, thanks for
you all.
resubscribing. Like, very happy with this. Next up is Fatigued Warriors. Summoned units cannot shoot or charge in the turn in which they were added to your army.
This should be a general rule.
I agree.
This should be in all games. Like, no matter what it is, summoned units can't do shit at the center of the summoned.
Mhm.
There you go.
I agree.
Like, it'll make the whole game better.
So yeah, this is pretty key, the Fatigued Warriors thing. So it's that negatively affects those summoning armies that rely on those late game summons. Sinesh are an army that rely on late game summons, early game summons, and also points reductions in the future. I hope. Then it's
Although they can still score, can't they? So
they can still score. Yes,
Yeah.
good point.
I
Nick.
I quite like the idea though that like some summoning that makes sense on. So like the Slaves to Darkness one where you can bring Marauders on a board edge, Ravagers, I think.
Yep.
And they come and they're like, whoa, I've been running for 5 turns, bloody knackered. And then it's like, oh, brought these demons from the demon realm, and they get there and they're like, was
Do you
in the
know how
gym.
much work it is to come through like those energies? Like through,
Yeah,
you know-
like,
yeah. It's
4
why
out
when I
of 10.
summon things, they're not painted, and I pretend like it's energy coming up.
4 out of 10 hardness. I do it
Yeah,
all the
man.
time. Rob summons me to Nottingham occasionally, and I'm always there.
But you don't charge anyone when you're here.
That is
you
true.
never charge anyone or shoot anyone. And even though I've told you it's kind of a pastime of the city, you just aren't. You don't get involved.
Bit of bow crime.
A bit of bow crime. Can these please fuck off with bloody awkward deployment zones? Yes, I agree. Because even though it looks like it's 5 blue squares, because you start 24 inches away, that isn't how it's going to be.
Just bring some string.
Yeah, it's going to be
It's not hard. Just fucking
18 inches.
Oh,
this
thanks,
one.
Dave. Even though you start 18 inches apart, this is still going to be a problem because you have to measure from the points, so it becomes weird circles. You just don't see the weird circles, and that's great fun. Great fun.
You don't see the weird
That's true.
circles.
Nor do I wish to.
I always see the weird circles. What's wrong with
I was gonna say, do you not always see the weird circles?
you? I can see them.
Right, so Tooth and Nail, it's got 4 objectives, 1 deep in your territory, and then 2 on the borders here, and it's the regular one. How do you guys feel about this particular battle plan? Oh my god, my chair's got rollers. I'd just like to shout out everyone, by the way, Twitch chat. Thanks for donating money to get me an office chair. I got one now. Fucking sweet. Anyway, just thought I'd bring that. Anyway, what do you guys think?
Can they donate me some money?
Yeah,
I'd quite like some money.
£1 is what you get.
Thank you.
Just mainly, if I'll give you £5 if you clean up that back. That's whatever's happening there.
I'm moving, aren't I? Like, this is all being moved out.
He's
Been
packing.
evicted for
Yeah, man.
uncleanliness. James, what do you think of this
Okay.
battle plan? Oh, you're just being a Stormcast bitch because you can't deep strike.
No, I have to say I quite like the ones where you can't deep strike because I think I've played long enough now to remember that stupid Skaven one that I also kind of loved.
Right.
And then it got put in every tournament pack because someone was like, pay 325 points for a battalion, will you? How about you lose a game? So I always think they were quite interesting. The deployment is already triggering me. That's a sad day. Yeah, other than that, I really like the summoning rule. So this can have like a 7 out of 10 for just affecting summoning.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Nathan, how do you feel about this one?
I think it's going to be a good
Yeah,
one.
me too.
It's not that complicated. There's prime objectives in this, aren't there, as
Mhm.
well, which is cool. So there's going to be some play around the burning of the objective. I don't see a problem with measuring from point, so that's fine.
Good.
Yeah, it's solid enough. No reserves. Yeah, I guess that affects some armies. I'm not sure I like that part of it, but other than that, the fatigue warriors makes up for it. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm in.
Okay, good. All right, next up is Feral Foray. The Great Excelsis Road is littered with the remains of convoys preyed upon by beasts of the wild. Often supplies remain amidst the ruins, and so two armies have arrived, each seeking to carry off the abandoned loot before the enemy can do the same. So it's standard stuff, but there's no prime objectives on this one. You've got raiding objectives. From the start of the second battle round, after you score a victory point, you can raid one objective that you control. That's wholly within your opponent's territory, and that's within 1 inch of friendly unit. If you do so, you score 1 additional victory point. The objective is then removed from play. You cannot raid more than 1 objective per turn, and then it's standard scoring from that point onwards. And there are 6 objectives in this particular one. So 6 objectives available. And it's all about burning from round 2. Now you start, how far apart do you start on this one? You start 18 inches away from each other in this one. So you are able to control all of your objective, kind of screen out your objective on the first turn, which is quite nice. And it's one of the broadest battle plans, obviously, spread across, but it's still very central. How do you guys feel about the Feral Foray? James, you got any thoughts?
I think the most interesting thing about this one being I guess similar to where we've been before, is that they're all closer together, aren't they, than they used to be? So I think
there were more of them before, weren't there? Scorched Earth.
yes,
Yeah.
there were more of them. Yeah, so there were more, but I think, are they closer together in general anyway because of the board shrinking?
They are closer together.
They're going to be, aren't they?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it'll be one of those really interesting ones. Like, and this isn't a plug, because I'm sick of packing objective rings at the minute anyway. But the first time I think when we had to hand cut them out and we put them on stream, one of them was Scorched Earth, and I remember being like, oh, it's the whole battle. Like, the whole battle is an objective. So I think for me, actually, just looking at this one, it'll be interesting to set it up and just be like, oh, like, the middle of the board is an objective, and then you've got these two flanks that probably are good for flanking and trying to get round someone, but actually you're never going to score on them. So I like the concept that you've almost got like a middle aisle, and then you can take a risky like foray to the side that might stop a unit scoring of your own. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting, and it's nice to see that it's just flat 2 points now.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things is that it's like I told you, there's only 3 inches between your objective in your deployment and your next one if you're going sideways. However, there's only 10 inches between the edge of your objective and the edge of their objective when you follow these grid lines, which isn't a lot. Like, you're going to be able to engage because their front line for the screen will be right at the front of that objective, which means you can leave your objective from the front line. And it means you're trading quite nicely. I know that's not one of those things that is very obvious when you look at this, but actually, if you realize that actually you're on the edge of your deployment, that means if they strike you, you're controlling your objective still, and they're not hitting you. However, if you get the turn, let's say, you're able to push out, and you've only got to go 10 inches, which with your movement 4, even at the slowest, is only a 6-inch charge. So, like, they're very close to each other. On these,
but
go on, Nath.
But you have to be within 1 inch to burn it.
Yeah, no, but to control it off your opponent is more what I'm getting at.
Yeah. To control, and it's going to be interesting deciding when to burn it, and also the turn 3 burn is going to be interesting as well, because are you going to burn one of yours or one of theirs, or what's going to happen? It's going to be very interesting because obviously you get a point if you burn it if you're doing the control thing, but if you're just burning it because it's turn 3, because it's the realm gone crazy thing, then you're not going to score that point. So what you going to do?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm not sure if that's not too strong an ability. Like, ultimately, like, does that just make the game like null and void? Like, you can't really plan any tactics at all. Like, you could just push a flank, do something really well, like play a quality game. And then, like, someone's like, oh, no, you can't have that objective because of the priority roll. Yeah, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah, but then you're on then you get to play the turn and then hit another objective.
Yeah, it's true.
They're so close together that if they burn the one that you're on, then you go, all right, I'll move all the shit that I had here and just move it on to the next one.
Is it optional to burn it? The turn 3 thing? Because there are cases where you're not going to want to burn them because you want to burn it to get the points. And you don't want to burn your own because you want to be controlling. I guess if you're controlling, because it's more, isn't it? So maybe you burn your own. You potentially might be burning your own more than theirs.
I think you burn your own every time on this.
So just to be clear for everyone at home, when you mean burn, what you mean is use the ability on turn 3 from the battle pack to remove an objective as opposed to burn it, because that doesn't get you any bonus points, right?
Yeah, the predatory realm or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So what they're talking about is removing your own and then burning your opponents, as opposed to burning all the things, which is fun. Don't get me wrong, but like not like a tad confusing, I think, for people at home.
Well, I think it's going to be a fun one to play this. Yeah, but the turn 3 priority is going to be again super strong, probably as strong as that other one that we thought might be too strong.
Okay.
The second one.
Yeah. All right, next up, Power in Numbers. I'm excited about playing that one, by the way. I think that one looks like it's going to be a really fun one.
I reckon it should be in every pack.
Oh, you really think so?
Ooh.
Yeah, I reckon that's like a scorched earth. Like, because it plays so similarly. I just think it's like a really interesting game to play. I think if you put that in game 3 or 4 in your pack, I think it'll be a really interesting one to throw in.
Okay. All right.
Even game 5, I think it'll be really cool. I think you play it in that 3, 4, or 5.
What
game.
about in game 1? Or 2? Or 4?
Or
I
3?
think that's a terrible idea.
Or 3?
I actually think 1 or 2 would be a terrible mission.
Why?
Like, because then you can just face roll whoever you. Because 1 or 2, you're not playing evenly, are you? You're playing randoms. So like this is definitely a game that you can, if you know what you're doing and you're a good player, you can absolutely destroy whoever you're playing against in game 1. Whereas I think it's going to be a really equal playing field mission on like game 3, 4, or 5.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a really good one, like Scorched Earth has always been.
Scorched Earth is always the best one. Power in numbers. Next battle plan. 2 factions have been locked in a struggle amidst the valleys of the Kronspine Range for days. With no victory in sight, both generals opt to commit their forces to a final, brutal engagement. So there are no prime objectives, but there is a special rule called the backbone of success. If there are any battle line units within 6 inches of an objective, then only models from battle line units can contest that objective. So obsec. So battle line are better here, which personally I actually think that might be one of the reasons that we see this played more, or put into battle packs more, because you get special rules obviously for monsters and monstrous heroes and heroes anyway. So this is one of those ones that kind of bring battle line back into the game, as it will. So victory points. Each player scores victory points at the end of each turn, and their turn score 2 victory points if you complete the battle tactic. You pick that turn. Starting from the second battle round, at the end of each of their turns, a player can destroy 1 or more of the objectives they control in order to score the following victory points. If you've held it for 1 turn, you score 1. If you've held it for 2 turns, you score 2. If you've held it for 3 turns, it's 4. And if you hold it for all 5 turns, it's worth 8 points.
Imagine if there was 8 turns then.
I know. So much better as a game. I'd love it.
So it's just better part of Valor.
Yeah, it's better part of Valor, basically.
And I think the battle line thing is stupid.
Why? Why do you not like the battle line thing?
Because a lot of armies have terrible battle line and literally take the minimum 3. And then you have armies such as Deepkin, which have everything in their army as battle line. And then you have Morrsarr Guard, which are actually fucking great still. Are still going to dominate. You've got things like Daughters of Cain. It really benefits the top armies and really punishes the bottom armies.
Okay, let's think about, well, I mean, going off what we do about which were the top armies in AOS 3, like, and obviously us predicting what we think might be the top armies what were the top armies in 2, and what we think are the top armies in 3. Yeah, I hear what...
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, probably. Like
you look at it, like, a lot of the bottom armies, you're looking at Beasts of Chaos, their lists are going to be a bit, like, you usually take your minimum battle line, right? You're looking at...
but don't forget, Skyfires can reroll their
good.
shooting attack now, so they're in a much better position than they were.
I suppose you can just put all-out defense on all your battle line, and then just, like, keep them there. But I think it just, like, benefits your top armies more than you realise in this battle plan.
I think also one of the things that you're not seeing, again, when you look at the map, is that you deploy inside your territory, right? Like, so you aren't deploying on the whole of the objective. So someone might be able to throw teleport a battle line unit over. So let's say you're not holding your 3 objectives, although why you aren't, I'm not sure, with your 3 battle line units. Or let's say they just shoot your battle line unit off and they teleport or charge a battle line unit on. That means that they kind of outscore you, even though you've got maybe more bodies on them or whatever the situation. But it could be something fun. Nathan, how do you feel about this one, baby?
Yeah, I don't think I was a fan of, what was it called before again?
BPVOV, better part of Valor.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, the battle line thing is kind of interesting if you've got a bias against heroic monsters, the likes of Marathi and Archeon and stuff. Which I tend to, but it does mean that it's a bit cuck for those guys as well. So so it's a little bit meh, I guess, is my opinion. just based on that. I mean, much in the same way as the one that was where it benefited the monstrous heroes overly, then this, this is in a similar vein for those armies that have got skinks and eels and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Skinks are going to love this one, aren't they?
Well, I think people are pointing out that Sons of Behemoth will also love this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
this is their new focal points. They love this mission now.
Yeah, so they just run forward and they're like, I win. Yay! Which is super nice. James, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I think like it's interesting, isn't it? Because what Adam's saying is kind of right, which is rare. So, what they've tried to do is help those armies probably off the top of their head, where they're like, oh, they have loads of battle line units that they can get much use out of. Like in theory, you should still see like large piles of battle line in probably like Skaven, maybe in Beasts of Chaos, like any of those armies where you can get them in 20s.
Yeah.
So not many, I guess. And then like obviously when we look at eels, there's 3 of them. So maybe in someone's head they were like, oh, if they're bringing 20, like what are the little guys called in Beasts of Chaos? Ungor. Oh, they're bringing 20 Ungor. Like, if someone charges 3 MSU eels at them, they'll be fine, them lads. They'll outscore. And what they don't realise is they're dead.
No, because they can use all-out defence and they're going to be fine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are they a big winner?
They're a big winner. They're a big winner. Arguably one of the bigger winners. Okay, better part of Valor. Maybe not something to be loved there because of the battle line thing. Interesting thoughts. Finally, is it finally? It is. The Veins of Gur. Ley lines of arcane power cross Thondia, many of which connect in some form to the lands around Excelsis. 2 forces have met upon such a ley line to do battle, little realizing that the deposits of amberstone here will reduce even the most aloof to raging beasts. So, the special rule for this one is Realmstone Veins. 3 objectives are set up during the battle. The first objective is set up at the start of the second battle round, before determining who has the first turn. The second and third are set up at the start of the third battle round, before determining who has the first turn. Each objective corresponds to a line on the battlefield. See the map. When setting up the objective, roll 2d6 and set them up on the corresponding place. Prime objectives. Objectives in this battle are prime objectives, they can't be destroyed. And then victory points. Score a number of victory points equal to the number of the current battle round for each objective you control. And then you score 2 victory points if you complete the battle tactic and grand strategy and blah, blah, blah. And this is called Star Strike. That's what this is called. The Veins of Gur.
Is this Star Strike?
Is this Star Strike?
Is this
GHB the old GHB?
Well, we didn't get to play 2020.
That's true.
So.
That's true. So Star Strike is back, and it's interesting how that will really interact because obviously you don't score the core mechanics for scoring right now. And I think this one's really interesting because you won't how the primary scored is I would say very interesting. Nathan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the primary is going to be quite an important part of scoring, especially towards the end of the game. The thing to note also is it's more likely to fall on the outside than it is on the inside for the 2 that fall on the edge of the territories. In turn,
16% chance in the middle.
Thanks very much, Adam.
Okay.
Good work.
Or something like that, maybe.
Did you just guess a number?
I'm pretty sure it's like a 16.84 or something. But
there we go, roughly.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
5 12ths, 1 6th, 5 12ths.
Yeah, okay.
So that's cool. Star Strike was always interesting, or obviously favors armies that are better late game as well. So bring out your summoning armies, etc., etc.
Okay. What do you think, Adam?
I used to really like Star Strike. I think I convinced you that it was a good mission when you were doing your packs and stuff, because I really like the fact that it's a late game scoring. But I think in the way, again, like all the other missions that have had slightly different scorings, I think it's really weird that this is still here. I prefer like the new way of scoring to how this is scored like it used to be. I feel like they should just like bin this off and just brought in what is now considered like an AOS 3 mission, whereas this feels like very much an AOS 2 mission. I still think it's a good mission. I still think you should put it in your pack. I just think it feels weird.
I would agree with that. I would say now we're at the end of all of the missions that actually my key takeaway is actually that it feels like they did a whole new way for us scoring, and then they were like, but we'll just rehash these battle plans. Like it feels very odd to me personally, because like I quite like do you know what? I'm kind of like, let's embrace the new. This is I'm not saying it's better or it's worse, but I'm like, this is the new way that you want us to score primaries and secondaries now. So let's do that and let's see how it plays. Similarly, though, like I like the old way of us scoring, like and us running on objectives and doing all that jazz. I thought that was a really great way of playing Warhammer, and I was really excited about it. But like I do feel that like there seems to be a big disconnect, like you said, Adam, with how you score or how they like reinvented scoring, and then they've just been like, oh, but lol, here are the old battle plans. You're like, okay, this is a weird one. Nate,
yeah, it just feels.
It does feel weird. It just feels like there's a disconnect, is what I'm going to say. Nate, what do you think?
I don't know. I quite like the fact that there's different ways of scoring. That it's not all the same thing of just standing around on pieces of ground, scoring points. And these ones, effectively you're doing a very similar thing. But that's why I liked the Predator one, where you've got you're doing something else other than just standing on bits of ground. So to me, the fact that this way scores different to those and is actually a bonus, and that's why I would like to see this one in tournament weekend packs, and the Predator one and all of that sort of stuff.
All right, no, I'm with you, James. You got any thoughts? Because I've got a big thought actually. So just love to talk to you about it.
For me, I think this one, the weirdest part about this one, and I know we've kind of talked about it before, but actually, when I was looking at, I think probably just the ones from the core rulebook, it was quite interesting. I think when we talked about it on the show a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when we saw those ones, there was that interesting point where we're like, actually, like the secondaries matter as much as the primaries. Like these choices are as important as trying to play the map. And then you look at ones like this and you're like, oh, cool, I can score no secondaries, but purely play for primaries and win anyway. And that's kind of
okay.
Nuts.
So it does feel though like you might be able to win a game without even scoring battle plan objective, apart from the ones you capture on deployment, says Iceman. I would say that this is fine. Actually, I think for me the biggest takeaway is that I've never felt this way before, but emotionally, if we take the each one of the battle plans pretty much has some sort of special rule. So ignoring the ones where you like where it's the it's the Fortnite one, or Star Strike where they all kind of land and everything else, I actually think you could take the special rule from each scenario. For instance, the one where you can't deep strike and you can't summon, or summoning you can't charge or whatever, that one, and then you can just move the objectives around because of the grid system. So you could be like, okay, we're going to play these two rules, whatever they are from that particular one, or the Predator one, for example. You could take that, and then you could just play that on like a focal point, like a 5 objectives kind of focal points, or a battle plot for the plan sort of shape. Like you could change where the objectives are, and because of the grid system, because it's just different. I've never really thought this through before, but they're so similar, really, in some cases, that actually you can kind of change where the map is, and then also, or at least your deployment zones, and then still follow like the secondary kind of like key change. And that means you've got like a lot of combinations of battle plans that you could potentially produce, which is quite fun. So you could play like one of the battle plans, but you could play from with different objectives in different places, but it's still that same core mechanic. And I think actually over the course of the year, if you were playing a lot, then actually that would really add some really nice variety, like to games. Or you could play the same battle plan a couple of times with your mates because you both really like that special rule. You're like, oh, let's play Predators today, which will be super fun. But we'll just do we'll use the different objectives from the different battle plans. And I think that could be a really fun thing to do. And actually, I hadn't thought about that before, but I actually think you could make something really fun. You could do a whole tournament, in fact, where you have the same one rule.
A predatory weekend.
A weekend of Predators is what you could call it. That.
Please no.
The Predator Weekend.
The Predator Weekender. Coming soon from the Honest Wargamer. 100 Predators away. That's it. That's what it's going to be. Predators will triumph is maybe what we'll call it. But yeah, you could mix it up. And actually, that's really, really exciting, right? Because there aren't loads of battle plans. Some of them aren't perfect. I think we've got to the stage where we developed them a lot. And you could just do a bunch of different fun stuff. So actually, that's really good. But I agree with Adam. I also think that there's that weird dichotomy. But then I also kind of like with Nathan, because if I end up hating the new scoring system, and I'm like, oh fuck, I hate this. This sucks. Then I can just be like, cool, let's just play Star Strike, or let's just play, better part. Like let's play whatever the or the marking territory one. We'll just do that.
Let's just play GHB 2020.
Let's just play GH 2020 with the new scoring system. Let's do that. Like,
I played the scoring system twice now, and I honestly don't want to play the other way anymore. Like, I played it, and I genuinely think it's so much better to how it used to be. And the game felt, even though the score seemed, so like I was saying, like it was a 30-16 score. That seems like a massive score, right? But actually, the whole way through, it felt very close. But I feel like after playing it how it is now, I just feel like the old missions seem a bit shit. And I think the way you were saying, like, they're not different. If you've got the little special rules in each game, you could literally they could have just brought out a load of fucking cool missions and just played it in the same scoring, and you would find that every mission is very
That's
different.
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, right?
That's what I mean. Like, I just don't like the old scoring anymore. I think if we just fucking move on, just leave it behind, fucking let's just go. Let's play some new shit.
How do you feel about that? A push for the new.
Yeah, I think I almost feel like, and I probably shouldn't, but it almost feels like maybe they wanted to completely reinvent the game, and then at the last minute remembered a guy burning his Dark Elf army and were like, oh, I'll put a couple of the old ones in. we don't, our shares have gone up double. Let's not have an Iron Jaws army burn. It doesn't look good for the environment.
Yes.
Let's just put the old ones in.
Okay.
And I think that's probably the problem. The only, I guess, maybe the positive that we take away from this is maybe there's enough of those new scoring ones that we never have to play the old scoring ones between this book and the core rule book, because I think there's 3 match play ones in there.
So Archeon the Three-Eyed King has pointed out that 8 of the 12 new scenarios use what I'm now calling classic victory points. So the ones that, like Adam says, that you kind of want to move on from, which is 2/3, right? 2/3 are going to be the older scoring system with only 4 of the new ones, which is why if you wanted to run a tournament only using the new scoring system only, like the hold 1, hold 2, hold more, then what you would do is you could potentially just mix around where those objectives are, where the deployments are, choose from other battle plans, and the grid system is great for that, right? Like you could put.
So 8 use new scoring, so it's 8 use new, 4 use old. So 8 is now the classic because it's more. So like there's enough for a weekend to just play the original system or like the new system, and there's 4 that are the old. JHD
is there 4 that are the old ones?
Yeah, and it's 8 that's new. So that's the classic.
Oh, okay. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Nathan, do you want to see a mix and match at events, or like would you like to just learn the new?
Yeah. No, I want to see a mix and match. I want people to be struggling to think. And also, if they wanted to stop people burning Iron Jaws armies, they should have chose a different one than Star Strike.
That's super fair. All right, well, listen, very interesting. Still so much to learn, right? And again, just kind of feeling that holding pattern while we wait for those FAQs this weekend. That's going to be that kind of key takeaway. So excited to see what that does for all of the armies. I'm looking forward to that. Not that I don't necessarily think that tons of stuff needs FAQs. I think we're going to see big overhauls for some armies. I think that's what we're going to see via the weekend. So that's actually really exciting. So it's a free digital update coming this weekend, which is amazing, right?
So they're not using the app anymore, are they? So where are the digital
Oh my God, we haven't
Just
even...
on the
No, so
community
sorry.
side.
We'll go back to the news section from 2 hours ago because we haven't even talked about this live on air yet in the news section, so we'll end on this. Yes. Hey, Dan, big love to you. Hope you're well, and all the guys in, in the team. The app is going away.
Good.
No, fuck you. Into the fucking sea.
Okay, boomer.
Shut up.
Let's go to the new
Right?
shit.
I'm gutted about this. Nathan, how are you feeling?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously the app was the
tits.
it was the best thing probably about the
Agreed.
whole game. Other than the models and the people and the game. But yeah, it was super good. So hopefully the new app will be as good. Or better.
Yes.
Like all new things are.
Like the 40k app.
No, not like that.
Like
But I
No.
like that app.
Nope. No, Nathan, the
a
40k
great
app didn't work super great, is how I'm going to describe it.
but is it working
No,
now?
It's not working now.
Works really well for new players. So
It's not working now at all. It works a bit, I think. James, how do you feel about the death of the Age of Sigmar app?
So I think I said this the other day. What I would like to say, like I like Azir. It's always been
You're
good.
wrong. That's the
and
worst decision.
And no, I like having the War Scrolls on my phone.
No, that's
I know
not
it's
Azir. Azir is the list building part of the app. The best bit of the
Well, yeah,
app
also good.
is all of the War
Yeah.
Scrolls for free.
Like I've gone in and out of having Azir and not having Azir. Lots of time I've had it. I know it never gets updated, but it's super easy to be on your phone, like wandering somewhere and like, oh, does this work? Oh no, does this work? No. And sometimes it's because it was never updated, and sometimes it's because it's a bit of a bag of crap. But I've always just gone on the kind of thing that occasionally they bill me for it, and I forget I'm paying for it, and I'm like, oh, it was 99p. I've paid for 4 months. I've used it once, but it was less than a pint. And I think so loads of the times, and all the times when we moaned about it on the show, like, I have to say, there were loads of points where I was just like, it's just so cheap. Like, it cost me a year less than, like, 2 pints in a pub these days. So fine, I'm happy. It
So,
doesn't
like,
matter.
I'll be serious. I'll be the serious guy because apparently everyone wants to dick around. Like, so just let's be serious for a second. The very best way that Games Workshop ever got a huge crowd, the massive upsurge for Age of Sigmar, came because of that app. It was free to download, all the War Scrolls for free, and you could build your list for free on War Scroll Builder on a website. It was fucking gold. It was so easy. Now, if you want to play 40k, you don't know what the fuck anything is unless you buy a book. Like, you just don't know what the fuck it does, or you go on Wikipedia. Like, you don't know what anything is. Yeah, so then you buy a book and you think, oh, okay, I might take this stuff. Oh, where are the points? Oh, they're at the back of the fucking book. You can only buy a book. There's no digital content. Like, you can only buy the book, and the book is how you, like, so, and that's going to happen in Age of Sigmar. No digital books available to buy. You have to buy the physical book, get a code, and put it in your fucking dumb app. Yeah? The app didn't work also when they did this for 40k. So, like, but, like, regardless of what we get in the future, they are mental because it was so good for the community and also growing the gaming scene. It was huge. Like, it was huge. It was just like, you would just say to someone, be like, oh, lead belchers do this. Be like, what the fuck do they do? Like, look it up. You're like, oh, they fucking do that. That's pretty good. Or like someone would be like, oh, I'm running a Stonehorn. Like it's there. You'd be like, oh, sweet. I'm just going to look up on my app what the fuck a Stonehorn does while you move your models. Yeah, because I don't need to, you're not brought your book with you or anything else. Like, it was so fucking user-friendly. I loved it. And it's so sad it's going. It's fucking dumb. Least of all, like, I mean, not least of all, but, like, also one of the problems is that people like Nathan, who bought all of his books on the app, are like, where the fuck do my books go now? Like, are they going in the new app? And they've been fucking super quiet about that, and it's definitely not going in the new app, and they're basically going to...
Oh, yeah, they've said it's not going in the new app.
Yeah.
They did.
And that's fucked as well. Like, and also the
But maybe you'll get them all for your subscription. Like, so in the 40k app, you got all of the book stuff that you didn't
To begin with, yeah.
Yeah, so all the old books were already included, and then it was only new shit that you had to buy.
which meant which invalidated everyone's purchases to a degree. But the other point is the 40k app, and this to me is actually pretty massive. The 40k app, if you buy because you can't buy the digital book in the 40k app, it's just not possible, right? So in the yeah, you just can't do it. So what you do is and the reason that they do that is so they have to give no money to iTunes. That's the point. Yeah. So you buy a book for the full price, no problem, and then you put the code in the app. So that they're like, haha, iTunes, we don't have to give you 30%. Like, that's what they do. But when you do that in the 40k app, you don't get any of the narrative. They don't upload the story as well. Like, it's just the rules. And that's shit, man. Because if you're, like, going on, like, a flight, like, and you've, like, downloaded the book ahead of time, you'll be like, cool, I'm going to give this a read. If you're in London and you're on the tube and any of that, or if you're wherever the fuck Nathan is, in a garden somewhere, probably don't have Wi-Fi, or, like, data. So, like, he's just like, oh, yeah, I'll look at some Gip's story again for the 832nd time. Like, and... yeah, great story, though, right? And I'm just gutted. I think it's really sad, and I think it's really rubbish. And it's a big mistake on Games Workshop's part, and off the back of what seems to be a pretty nice addition. Like everything else is,
but it could be a really good app. We've not seen it yet. Like it could be basically the exact same
it could
thing.
Be.
Well, so
new including shit. So
I
like
think
you got to wait until you see the new
true.
app before you can like fully, because at the moment it could be like it could have better user face. Like, it could be better how it is. Like, it could be shit, but it could be better. Yeah, mate, I fucked up that face. Like, fuck me. Like, it could be better. Do you know what I mean?
Could have a better user face, but the user will be your face, Adam. So, like...
Oh, my God. Yes!
That's the user face is your face.
Versus fucking... Oh, we can have dance off in the app.
Yeah. Nathan, come on. Talk to me how you feel. Because you and me have used the app since the beginning, right?
Well,
it was fucking great.
Yeah, exactly. If I mean, if it goes the way you say it's going, then yeah, sad face indeed. Because I like to have the books in the app, and I like to be able to just read the other war scrolls from all the different armies.
Yeah, agreed.
So if that's not something that's going to happen, then yeah, sad face big
Also,
time.
like, can we not, like, I'm all for Warhammer Pride. Yeah? I'm all for you go, 100%. Hold it up high. Hold the W's. Hold on, let me just do it. Hold those W's up. Yeah, Warhammer Pride. Yeah, yeah, let's go. But like sometimes you want to go to a coffee shop, or you're in a pub. Yeah, everyone's like, "What you doing?" You're like, "I've just got to reply to some people." Really, you're just reading the fucking story for Kragnos on your phone, and you're not talking to anyone at all. Yeah, Dudley Live, thank you very much for resubscribing for the Honest Wargamer Plus. Appreciate you. But now I've got to go to the coffee shop with the whole book, like flipping it open like this, Stormcast, and also like I might want to read the Stormcast story, but it's embarrassing if other fucking people see me reading the Stormcast book. I don't mind if they see me reading like a Chad book like the Gits or the Ogres. They become over like, "You playing Ogres? Do you want to fuck later?" Be like, "Yeah, man. Like, let's do that, old woman. Whatever."
You just put
right?
the Gits book in front and then the Stormcast book behind it.
Yeah, right. You put the Ogre cover on the Stormcast book. Right, so that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're outing me publicly by making only digital books. And James, I know you're a Stormcast bro, but I don't want to be known as someone who's read it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, like, I know it's been touched on, but I think, like, the concept is in my head, right? If they make the app and it's 50 quid a year and you play all their game systems and you get loads of good stuff and there's good Netflixy like content, then it's not a horrific amount of money. The issue is, when was the last time Games Workshop ran and updated an app well?
Okay, the last time Games Workshop made a good app was when they made the Age of Sigmar app.
But even then, it's never
And the
updated.
Citadel
Never on
paints
time.
out.
It's updated most of the time.
The what?
The Citadel paints out.
Paints out. What's that? Oh, yeah.
I forgot that was a thing, Adam. You're the only person still using it.
Right.
I can go into Games Workshop and be like, do I
Look,
have?
However,
known
I do think so. So I'm gonna do a non-promo, because I have to say that I've never used the 40k app,
Right.
but I have used and paid for Battlescribe,
And it's brilliant.
and it is. I don't know whether he'll ever listen. I don't know who he is or what his name is, but I did pay for it because it's
As did I.
amazing.
By the way, did you not
it's-
watch the App of the Year show, the App of the Year awards?
No.
2020 App of the Year awards. Battlescribe won it by a clear mile.
Well, I think like it's, and I'll say it to everyone, it is probably one of the clunkiest apps to set up. But like once you're in and you understand how it works, I honestly think it's incredible. Like it does everything you need it to. It gives you every rule, and so the only positive I think we could flip on this is if Games Workshop make an absolute farce of Warhammer Plus, because people are still gonna pay.
No,
for
you're
it.
missing. You're
there's
missing.
no
You're
way
missing
Games
the key point. You're missing the key point. Adam, I'll come to you in a second. You're missing the key point. I don't give a fuck that for £5 I get some cartoons and I get the 40k app and I get the Age of Sigmar app and I get some fucking donkey model at the end of the year. Looks great, by the way. Like I'm excited about all that. Like, but that doesn't bother me. What's great is you're brand new. You don't know if you want to spend £5 a month on an app yet. You don't know what you want to do, but you're reading through the War Scrolls on this fucking free app, and you're looking at this stuff, and you're like, yeah, this fucking, like, because new people don't know what the fuck anything is. Like, they read something, and they're like, oh my god, if this guy stands still, it goes from D3 to D6 shots. How fucking good are Iron Blasters and Iron Blasters, whatever.
But I don't.
Like, they're like,
I don't think new people are at the moment Games Workshop's target audience.
that's the only target audience they have. Everyone
Fucking new
else
people.
knows more than them.
Yeah, but I don't think they're their target. Like if you look back, so for me, if I look back at the last two box set releases, and I don't know the 40k ones, but I know the Age of Sigmar ones, what I got was like half an army Stormcast, half an army Khorne, half an army Stormcast, half an army Nighthorn, and none of the units were the right size because it didn't matter because you were buying it, and I brought it with Adam. He had one half, I had one half, and we just played some games. It had some rules, it had some bits. We had some dice and we just played. And I think like the last 40k box set and this box set are what were they called, like limited release, whatever. And it's not a starter set. It's not about getting new people in. It's about current hobbyists buying like the push fit models easier. But if you're a new person, like Dominion's a bad example because they made loads for the first time in 10 years. But like that 40k one sold out everywhere. Like it wasn't about getting new people into the hobby. It was about just getting hobbyists to buy more toys. And I think maybe that's the
It was
problem.
100% about getting new people to buy new people in. They released a brand if it was just for people who already want new toys, they wouldn't make a however much it costs. They're tens of thousands of pounds graphic that they want to go viral to get new people. It was all geared towards new people. It always is. That's their entire marketing thing. But it doesn't matter. That's not the point, right? We're off piste. The point is the app is going and it's sad. I think is the point. But
it could be amazing.
But it could be amazing, according to Adam. It could be amazing.
It could be.
That's true. It does have the potential to be amazing.
It has a potential to be fucking great, but it could also be shit. So,
what would we not want to lose? Not to labour the point too much. What would we not want to lose?
War Scrolls.
All the War Scrolls.
For free. Not behind a paywall.
Yeah.
But it is behind a paywall because the app is only accessible for £5 a month.
Yeah.
So it's already not free.
Do we know, and I know this is a very janky secondary option, do we know if you'll still get every War Scroll for free on the website under the model?
Maybe, but that's still it's just so good when
It's
It's
too
just
many
so good
clicks.
when like you and me are playing a game and I'm like, I've got some flamers, and then I'm like, you're like, oh, what the flamers do? Don't worry, I'll just look it up on the app. I mean, I could tell you, but you also could be looking up. Or if you're about to play someone in a game later, you could just start looking up the war scrolls and kind of look at it. Anyway.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? I think in my head the only thing is, and I know I brought a Battle Scribe and loads of people cried about it, but I still think it's great. Is that maybe if they do an absolute wank job, then what we'll find is the community will make its own app, very much like Wikipedia, that's just better.
Okay. Yeah. They're not going to do though. So it's gonna.
No, I don't know how you do it. But
I'll
still.
do it.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't
I'll
do
have
it.
lots of user
They couldn't do it for
faces.
their largest game. Right now, they have a dumpster fire of an app for their largest game, and it's going to be body. But as long as they don't touch War Scroll Builder, that's where we draw the fucking line. That's where we draw the line in the sand. Nathan, thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, War Scroll Builder's great as well. In the article that they gave us about this new app, they said that this one's you're gonna have. It's going to be available later this year, and it's going to be a beta version.
Oh, did it actually already say that?
It did say that.
Oh, I'm not with it. This sounds bad.
So it's going to be a beta version later this year, sometime before the first battle tomes for the new edition.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be fairly soon later this year, because it's going to be before any battle times, and you would think that we'd be getting battle times fairly quick, especially with the new Stormcast and the Cruel Boys and
So there's a
stuff.
Warhammer preview on Saturday, which we pretty much assume is going to be an announcement of at least the first 2 battle tomes. It might be just the Stormcast one, but it might be both of the first 2 battle tomes, which we assume on Saturday. So with that announcement and that date, there might be a announcement on the app. The problem is, though, Nathan, about that article, not to be like spoil sport, is that last year they did also announce the 40k app was going to come out, and then they pushed the date on it, and then they released it, and it didn't work, and then they pushed the release again, and then it took about a month before it was even, and then they offered it you for a month for free, and then it turned out it was going into beta after it had been out for 2 months. So at least
and then they halved the
yeah,
price.
then they
So when they say it's going into beta, what exactly does that mean?
It means they've done a shit job, and they don't want you to be mean to them because it's a shit job. Sorry, if anyone,
it's not the
if anyone wants a different take,
it's not the finished article.
It's not the finished article.
It's like when you say no offense to someone.
It's like no offense.
No offense, Nathan, but
no offense, but you look like
no
shit.
Offense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Adam, that's so perfect. That's exactly the right description. Like, it's like what's beta? It's like saying no offense before you give someone a product. Like it's like half cooking a meal and then just giving no offense. This is your food. Sorry, Nate. Carry on.
So they've also said the beta will be free to use. So that means when they are prepared to offend you, it won't be free to use then. Yeah. Okay.
I really hope it's shit though, because then we'll get it free for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe 6. I'm going with like 6 because that
if we
40k
just keep
one
complaining
went
that it's shit, we'll get it for free for longer.
Like when we send in FAQ questions that
Yeah. They always listen to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
That's true. So it's a bit interesting, but I can end the show on some positive news if you guys would like.
Are you going to tell me about All Out Attack?
Listen, I don't know if you've heard about Unleash Hell, but let me tell you how it's going to improve your army and your game. There is coming, I've announced it on the show the other day, but you guys might not have watched it. There is an app coming from the Honest Wargamer. In fact, it's called Honest Wargamer Plus. We have our...
I've not seen it yet, but it sounds shit, and it's an absolute tragedy. Right? You're getting rid of something that I really like already, okay? I've not seen it, but fuck you all right?
Is it called Honest Wargamer Plus No Offense?
It might be now. That's a long name for an app. That's a long name for an app. But I don't want to announce who's doing it. But if he wants me to shout him out, I will. But we're kind of keeping it under wraps at the moment. But Honest Wargamer Plus, it could have many a name. We're not sure if that's what it's going to actually be the final name of it. Suggestions are that it might have a Nathan Prescott soundboard on it as part of the app, which I think would be worthwhile. There's also a James Powell soundboard part of it as well, but it just starts with, I'll tell you what's interesting. That's how it starts, and then that's all you hear. Like, that's the first bit. That's it. And it might go into beta first. We need a Nathan soundboard, I don't imagine it will cost any money. I'm not sure. I don't know yet. But anyway, there's some positive news, right? The mystery of what the Honest Wargamer Plus app is let it start now. Nathan, what do you think it might be?
Oh, I think it'll say no offense, but we'll probably do as much offense as we can manage.
That's true. James, got any thoughts on what it might be?
A high quality product that needs no testing and is just released straight into the world.
Well, who knows? Adam, thoughts?
Something that takes space up on my phone.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're gonna compete with that paint app
I know that
for
fucking
space
paint
on
app,
your
mate.
phone.
It's fucking great. Did you know it's got like basing tutorials and everything?
Yeah. That's
Well, we'll see. We'll see what it is. Anyway, I'm very excited about it's going in for no offense first straight away. Anyway, it might be a Warhammer dating app. Not saying it's not saying it is, but could be. But anyway, listen, thank you to you three.
Local gamers near you.
Thank you to you three for being on the show today. It's been lovely.
Thank you for having us. Thankful for having me anyway. Don't know about them two, if they're thankful or not.
Always thankful.
Good, there you go.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Have you guys got any shout outs you'd like to make before we head out today?
I'm going to shout out all the infestation insects that live in Adam's bedroom for not getting enough screen time.
It's true. There's fucking loads of them, man. I've got to clear all this shit out later.
Good. Adam, you got any shout outs you want to make?
I should probably shout out my girlfriend. We've been set together 6 years.
Oh,
today.
congratulations!
Wow.
And you're on here!
Yeah, I fucked her off for this.
Yeah, me, yeah.
Well, 6 years was a good run, Adam.
She
6
texted
years
me
was
and
a
she was
good
like,
run.
"Can I have some chocolate?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll get you some chocolate." So it's fine.
All right, perfect.
There you
There
go.
you go. You've done it.
Has she been
Yeah.
watching the whole time as well? That's great.
Probably not. She doesn't like me that much.
And thank you to Nathan. You got any shout outs from you?
You've been going
Can we
out
shout
since
out your girlfriend? What's her name?
Yeah. Beth.
Shout out to Beth.
There you go.
Oh,
There you go.
The Trader channel.
no offense.
Oh yeah, no offense. But why the fuck did you pick him? I know, right?
Nathan, you got any shout outs?
No, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, listen, thanks everyone listening to the podcast. Thanks for everyone on Patreon. Thanks for everyone who's a YouTube thug. And, of course, thanks to everyone who's joined us live. All of you in the chat, you've all been wonderful. Thanks for supporting the show. And no offense, but you're all a bunch of dicks. Thanks for listening to The Honest Wargamer.